And what a shot from Kirica, taking that off the ceiling, underneath the ball, and straight down the middle.
Oh, there it is, out of the blue!
2 seconds left on the clock and the Joker finds something out of nothing!
Now, that pass from Shadow was immaculate, playing it straight down center. Hecky just had to get a touch, and it's all he needed.
Sonic has a chance, it's an open net if he sees it. Looking for the shot downfield, goes into the corner, Kilogram! He gets the goal!
They're just in front of the net. Nuke barely keeps it out there, dies on the goal line. The long shot, it finds it through. Entity gonna pick it up.
RSC League Play, Week 2 of Season 3. Welcome to it. I am Greybeard, and of course, thrilled to be here, to be presenting, to be introducing the second week of League Play. And to get things going, we have to give a shout out to our sponsors, Nexa and Genisus Extreme. Nexa providing the prize pool, so huge shout out to them, and it's at least 20% higher than it was last season, so a great improvement there. And then our broadcast sponsor, taking care of all the button pushing and making sure this high quality broadcast is brought to you, Genisus Extreme. Thank you very much to them. And then, since we are in the advertising segment of the RSC stream, we have some merch. So this t-shirt is now available for order. I played RSC S3. Just saying. And there is a link available on Twitter and in the Discord where you can order. And what we're going to do with that is, once we have 20 orders, we will do the first run. It's a total cost of 290 Rand. And that leaves a small profit of about $100, which is going to go straight back into RSC to anything we need to fund to make this league and this season even better. All right, so there you go. Advertising out the way. Let's talk about where we are. As you can see, we're still early in the road on the road to our Season 3 champions. 9 weeks of league play. This is week 2. And after week 9, we hit the playoffs, and that will be a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday night, 11, 12, 13, 14 November for the playoffs. So that's our roadmap from now until the 21st of November, when the season will finally conclude. And that brings us to what we're doing right here tonight. After week 1, these are the standings. DSQ, Esports, and Dynasty are locked in first place. DSQ slightly ahead on goal difference, which puts them at number 1. But Dynasty right behind them. And of course, Dynasty going to be wanting to make some damage on that. 3 of tonight's 4 streamed games features Dynasty. So yeah, they're going to be looking to improve there. And then we have Shadow, the Order of Okes, Redirect, Bro, Fort Templar, and struggling Critical Force, UnitOx, and XP Esports. So that's the state of play after week 1. Lots of time for that to improve, and all teams tonight, of course, will be looking to improve their work on the standings. And that's so there we go. That is our schedule for tonight. Dynasty Jokers up against Cassia, who are DSQ. So that's an important match with those 2 franchises locked in first place. And then the Dynasty Jacks versus Gelfi from UnitOx. And then in Elite, Dynasty Queens versus Redirect Swift. And then finally another Elite game, DSQ Ostrom versus Shadow Darkness. And I guess the highlight, if you wish to call it that, is that in game 2, I will be on the field playing with the Jacks up against Gelfi. So who knows how that's going to go. But bringing us the action on the field are our 2 casters, Ultrazim and Vector.
Oh, I'm so excited for tonight. I always enjoy my RSC. And then last week, I called to all the gods of the Greek pantheon and asked, please, someone get me a game that I can cast Greybeard. And the fates have aligned. I am here to cast you, Greybeard. It's so exciting. My first time casting with Vector as well.
Yeah, I'm very, very excited to be casting with you, Ultrazim. The second time that I'm in the booth for the Sub-Saharan African RSC chapter. I was there for the preseason finals, now here in league play, well underway once again. And I'm looking forward to a lot of these matches. It seems like Dynasty are dominating in the schedule, in the franchise standings. They're all over the place. Hopefully, for their sake, they will continue to be able to just move forward going into this second week. I just can't wait to get back onto the field and start casting once more.
All right. Well, Vector, thank you very much for being here. Vector, of course, a stalwart of the EU RSC as a player, as a caster, been involved for many years. And of course, Ultrazim needs very little introduction, an OG of the South African Rocket League scene. So, gentlemen, I am going to leave this game in your capable hands.
Thanks, Greybeard. I appreciate that. Game number 1 proves to be an interesting one here. I mean, we are in Prospect Division, so it's going to be certainly a clash of the 2 biggest franchises, or at least the 2 leading franchise, but a very different story coming into this, with Dynasty Jokers currently 4-0 up with having not lost a game. On the other side, DSQ Cassia down 0-4. Vector, I'm interested as to reflects being so early in the season and what you're expecting to see in terms of prospect players as a whole.
Well, as you said, it's quite serendipitous, to be fair, that this is Jokers versus Cassia. It is the top 2 in the franchise standings. It's a crucial game for both sides, despite the fact that Jokers already won their first series in a 4-0 last week. They are now very, very well placed in their conference, in the Ignis conference. They're 3rd at the moment, but both the teams above them have already played their series this week. They're only 1 game above, so a prime opportunity for them to take top spot. But Cassia on the other side, all the way down in 8th. It is only early season, but with the way that SSA works, you only play one series a week. So this is your chance to make your mark. And right now they're going to be struggling at the bottom with that draw last week. I think this is going to be very difficult, especially with the way that Jokers have been performing already. They won their preseason final. I was there. I watched it. They pushed Accelerate aside like they weren't even there. They lost only one series in preseason. They're in a complete roll, and I just don't expect them to be stopped by this DSQ side.
Yeah, I mean, when we look at this Dynasty Jokers side coming out here, Clerks, the Dogman, and High Frequency with Muzz and Toe. I don't think that's the Muzz who's been on the cast all the time. Willing for production to confirm that or deny that. It is him. It is our wonderful casting Muzz there. So we've got two of your wonderful people that we love to see on stream getting to prove that they know what they're talking about. We'll see if Muzz does take to the field. But also one of the highest rated of our prospect division teams. I mean, we see Clerks there, 12-10 as the highest leading man. And the second person here, the Dogman with 1195, is actually equal to the highest player on Cassia's side. So if we look at the Cassia lineup as well, I mean, really, these guys are, they're good. They are still in that same level. And when it comes to something like prospects, I don't know if you agree, Vector, but I don't think individual numbers really play that much of a difference. We're not expecting to see a solo play from a guy carrying it from one side of the field to the other with an air dribble backboard read or something like that.
Stranger things have happened. I think it's Greybeard himself that always touts the prospect division and says that it's one that's difficult to measure and difficult to predict, and I completely agree on that regard. And my opinion is that rating CMV doesn't hold that much water in terms of what an actual player's skill level is. There's so many intangibles within the game of Rocket League that it's a difficult way to determine exactly what skill is going to be transferred onto the field. But as you said already, some of the highest CMVs that we see on that prospect team, a lot more balanced here on DSQ for Cassia. I'm just expecting them to be a team that supports each other more, opts to pass the ball a lot more, at the very least at the prospect skill level that they're capable of doing. And I hope that they take the sword to Dynasty and prove to the entire, not just their division, but to the entire league that they're not here to walk over everybody else, despite the sweep that Joker's got last week. I just hope it isn't a sweep this time around, and we get some sort of competitive situation in this match alone. But I'm just looking forward to what they're capable of.
Yeah. Now, we're going to go into the game right now. Victor, I don't know if you are one. I personally hate putting predictions, especially this early into a season. But are you ready to put money on one of these teams just based on the difference in scores last time?
Well, a wise man, a betting man, would probably say a 4-0 on this one for Jokers. I would be a bit more conservative and say a 3-1. I don't think Cassia are going to be pushed aside that easily. They did get a draw in their prior series last week, and some of the notes that I made, they drew with Omega Force, who topped their preseason group. So I think there's potential there. They struggled in preseason, they only finished 3rd, but they got 2 wins. So it's not be-all, end-all for the fact that they only got a draw last week. I'm expecting them to do some damage here against Jokers, especially early in the series, if they can get going early on.
Well, Twitch chat seems to have a lot of confidence. Some of the fans of Jokers coming out here saying, without any shadow of a doubt, they're going to be coming in with a sweep. They've got 4 games to prove that right now. Jokers coming out in red and Cassia coming out in lilac or purple or any variation of one of those colors here to defend it for our first game here in week number 2 of RSC SSA season number 3.
Starting off early, neither side with that much control. They're just going back and forth, testing the waters a little bit. I think Cassie have had the slight advantage so far. This one going to be finding its way over the top of Atom, but easy enough to rotate back through for Crevenator. Kind of wasted possession. Easy enough for Jokers to find their way back down the field, and now Eclipse off the sidewall with plenty of boost. Kind of gets away from him. Still threatening Aura, though, for both sides here as they manage to keep this ball in the corner. Going to take another pop at it, Eclipse as well, who I believe is Clerks in the database. That's what his name is registered as, if there was any confusion there. And massively the standout for this Joker's side, but it's not going to matter, as who's standing out right now is Atomic for Cassia. They get first blood, something that I certainly wasn't expecting, and I assume most people watching the stream weren't either.
Well, certainly puts paid to the critics already. Cassia off to a great start there. Dogman just trying to take the ball up into his own corner and get some distance out the field, but ends up just centering it as a pass towards his opponents. A good clinical finish comes out there, and suddenly Jokers with work to do. It's going to be Eclipse looking to take towards the air, denied out by a quick challenge. Expertly done, and a difficult touch there from High Frequency. Leaves the ball skirting around the outside, and Cassia now with Atomic Boom back in defense does get demoed, but not before he's able to at least find a teammate. But teammate can't clear it out. One more time, a booming shot comes down towards the other side of the field, picked up by Atomic Boom in the center, and he's just been so harassing on his opponents right now across the field. It doesn't give them any space and looks for that prime moment to send it into a well-placed shot.
You know, I may take a leaf from your book, Ultrism, and be a lot more cautious about the predictions that I make prior to these series.
Right.
As I believe that Jokers was going to be the team that made the biggest difference here. It's still early days, of course, only 2 minutes in, but clearly Cassia have come to play. Atomic with a brace already in this series, and they're looking like the stronger of the two sides, utilizing the space that they've been given. And I'd say that being given by Jokers right now, they haven't had much offensive rotation. We've seen a couple of solo play attempts by Eclipse, but haven't really come off. Then the team play isn't there, as we see here. Eclipse just to the backboard, does get another bite at the apple, but there's just no presence there from High Frequency, waiting far too long to go in for the attack, and that space is being given to them. They're just not using it as well as Cassia are, and this is why we're seeing such a strong lead this early into the series.
Right now, Cassia grouping up with a big solid wall on defense and looking to see what Jokers is going to be able to bring in here. One of the big things, Vector, that I've noticed is in prospects here, I'm not looking for the big plays. It's more about which team is going to make more unforced errors and if they get punished for that. And then backing it up on the same vein, who's got the better rotations as a squad? Who's making these big double commits versus which team is being able to come in and just constantly poke one or two players, consistently get good hits on the ball and clear it out down to the other side of the field. So far we've seen Cassia doing an excellent job of finding a person back down towards their side, and Jokers with a lot of unforced errors, going for big optimistic mechanical plays and then just not making the connection that they need. They've got to look forward coming out now. Great early challenge comes from Atomic, does even manage to get it over High Frequency, and Eclipse once more looking for the mechanical plays, but loses it on the flip reset attempt.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. Consistency in fundamentals is something that permeates through every single division. But it is so much more prominent in the lower skill tiers where those mechanics, those high-level plays are not typically expected. You've just got to be good at the basic stuff in the game of Rocket League. Striking, shooting, passing, but this one's going to be on the wrong net. Unfortunately, the fundamentals didn't quite work in Cassia's favor, as Joker's first goal in this series will be from an own goal. Atomic, it just can't seem to stop scoring regardless of the net that it's on. He's got a sort of a hat trick, but not a hat trick, not for his team at the very least. He's scoring every single goal in this game so far, and Jokers will be happy to see it. But yeah, it does, as you were saying, as we were both saying about the fundamentals of consistency. If they are not there, if the basics aren't working, then it doesn't matter how well you can dribble the ball or just do solo plays. You've got to be reliant on each other to make the basic things happen, especially on defense, as we've seen here. Because of the lackluster defense from both sides, we've seen 3 goals. So I'm expecting, at least hoping for that to book up as the series goes on. But for the time being, Cassia have had the better of it.
They have indeed, I must admit, and it just really does come down to that. Attempting the simplistic. I mean, Atomic shot there in his own goal was a sublime shot. It was really well placed, and unfortunately now under some pressure, putting themselves down as the ball just turned wide there off the Dogman shot. But I mean, that was tenuous moments in the final 20 seconds here for Jokers to have an opportunity. They're going to have another one here, looking towards the net, trying to pass it through there, meets a brick wall. There's going to be a quick play coming out from Demonics to be able to take it the length of the field. Stopped at midway by Eclipse. He's got the pickup. He's got the dribble. Denied once more. And Dogman trying for the shot. Cannot keep it up there. And even though Joker's not managing to pick up a single goal of their own card, DSQ content that they only gave one away.
Yeah, but towards the latter half of that game, Joker's certainly stepped it up a lot more, at least in terms of offensive pressure. As you can see from the shots there, 6 from Eclipse, only 1 goal from it. and Frequency and Dogman bringing up the rear with 3. So they had more opportunities, they just didn't necessarily make the most of them, and DSQ, they sort of got away with it in a lot of the moments that they did concede those opportunities. They weren't defending the front half of their net, or the latter half of their halfway line, and it was giving chances for Jokers. They just, for some reason, didn't have the ability to put them away, and it actually took DSQ and Atomic finding his third goal inconsequentially for his own stats, of course, getting them back into that game, and it made things a bit more interesting towards the end of it. But I think that consistency is going to up itself as the series goes on. Jokers, they 4-0 swept last week. I expect that that wasn't a fluke. I think they did that on merit alone, and perhaps it sort of knocked them a bit and gave them a bit of a haymaker, those 2 goals going for Atomic. But they showed up their defense towards the latter half of that game, and I expect them to continue to do so through the series.
I mean, you certainly alluded to it there. Jokers have a potent offense. They managed to take, just 6 shots on Eclipse alone. In terms of the saves, it was Cassio who had to take the vast majority of those. It's just that Jokers kind of seem to throw opportunities and prayers at their opponent's net.
It's hit and hope.
Yeah, exactly, right? There was no consistency. There was no strategic build-up play that we were looking to see from them. And maybe there was just a little bit of overconfidence coming from their previous stellar victory that they took into this, thinking that they could actually just style on any opponents that stepped up. And Cassie's giving them something to think about right now. And Joker's coming in with a far more structured attempt through here. Shot from the left-hand side of Dogman does not manage to bring it back around, but a nice look towards their opponent's goal. And Cassia having to do some work, and they have had a stalwart defense up until now. They're going to have to do it again. Is this one going to be dangerous from the backboard? The touch is there. Over Demonic, slowly trickles in, but the save at the last moment. Atomic once more showing their worth for the squad.
We saw exactly there what Eclipse is capable of. Off the backboard, looking for the double. Not quite the shot that he was hoping for, but Cassia only just got back in time. Atomic making his name known once more. It was for shooting last time around, but this time is saved Cassia's blushes there. Managed to keep it an equal game. Now back down the other half of the field. Demonics and Crevenator looking to find their way forward. Eclipse backflips on the back boost there. Atomic with nothing but the corner to find. A demo on the third man opens up so much space for Jokers to use as Eclipse has to hunt this ball down, but it's just sent right back down the other end by Creve. And once more a neutral game is found, but it's just the back and forth tennis aspect of a Rocket League game where neither side is willing to take too many risks, as we can see here. Cassie just lining up 1, 2, 3, waiting for Eclipse to play. I think they need to be a bit more proactive in terms of defense against that player, because he's clearly got the aerial ability.
Oh no!
For some reason they don't respect it. They've still got away with it. Demonics finds the first goal past a Dogman that just seems to be asleep. I'm not sure what's happened there, but it's led to a goal for Cassia.
Their inopportune disconnect comes out from Dogman. Going to see if he can join back into this game right now. But for Jokers, who are looking so strong at the beginning, they're peppering their opponent's net consistently with Cassia with little response. We're now going to have to play 2v3, and maybe now is the time when Eclipse is going to have to bring out some mechanical prowess of his own to foster up that difference in the number of players on the field. That Cassia, they can't do anything. It's not their fault, I think, that their opponent's disconnected. They are still going to be happy that a goal goes to their credits. 2 players up now from Jokers, and you can't afford to double commit when that's all you have to work with.
I'm not sure any sort of competitive sabotage is happening right now, but either way, it is obviously against Joker's favor, as this one's just flashed across the goal line by Eclipse, the only option that he had. Demonic's going to walk past that ball. May have actually been more fortunate for Cassia here. Is Creve going to find the third man? Demonics, I'm not sure if that was intentional to leave that ball floating through the midfield. Maybe giving a little bit of sympathy for Jokers, the fact that it is 2v3 for them, and a few chances still coming through for this Dynasty side, mostly at the behest of Eclipse there. But still, it is just a waiting game, it seems like, to see if we can get Dogman back into the game. We'll just have to see. But still, keeping it to 1 goal is respectable in this situation, and it's not like they're sitting back. They're still being offensive. They're still pushing forward. They just have to show far more precision and composure than they were initially in order to try and get something through here. And an equalizer would be an incredible boon for them.
It would be fantastic, and they're trying for it now. They're going to actually get it. Eclipse with a midfield lob. takes it past the waiting defender, jumps it a little bit too high, is Krev there on the back line, and in fact positions himself badly in the net, faces backwards towards the ball. And that, guys, if you're watching this and you are a lower player, then that is one of the most pivotal things that's reinforced once more, and high frequency evens up the numbers, gives some space towards Eclipse, who's once more trying for an aerial play, denied out there, and Atomic with work to do. Let's see if Cassia can get some sort of aggressive posturing going there. It does try and beat it past one, and two of their players taken out by a single touch from Eclipse. Or Musty.
I was going to mention that, if it's Eclipse looking for that Musty, as you said, looking for that go-ahead goal, and still a 2v3. And I was just about to mention it, Cassia, they have even more incentive now to just send the first man, to mute Eclipse in the air. He's going to be getting opportunities. If he's got the boost and he's got the space, he's going to take to the skies, he's going to try and beat you outright. They have an extra defender, essentially, in this instance, so they have to be challenging him as soon as possible, especially right now, as Eclipse is going to be there for the follow-up as a go-ahead goal in a 2v3. This is, at the worst, embarrassing for Cassia, because they have to be able to defend this. They have an extra player. There is no reason for them to not be able to stop a play of this nature, but they find themselves on the back foot, and now Jokers might be thinking, well, we might be better off just playing with two players. We've got a lot less to worry about. You know, the fewer moving parts, the less risk there is of confusion or misunderstanding, miscommunication, I suppose, if they're better at twos than threes. But whatever the case, 20 seconds left, Cassia are down.
And Dogman is back, is rejoined now with his team, already doing the work, but just in time, like you said, maybe
I don't believe
players
it.
were better. You see Cassia managing to even this up right now, and finally managing to pick up a pass off the backboard. What a shot. Once more, of course, it's Atomic bringing the boom. And Cassia and Jokers leveled up with 15 seconds left. Now we have a proper game.
In a way, it kind of makes sense. They were probably thrown off by an extra player being hurtled into rotation. They weren't quite expecting him to come back. I assume they're in comms. They would have mentioned that he was rejoining, but it actually worked against them here as Cassia find that equalizer once more, and a 2-2 game, hurtling towards a second overtime in this series. Not a second overtime, the first overtime even, almost a buzzer beater as we saw in the first one, but unfortunately for Cassia, they've lost that opportunity to go forward. Unfortunately for Jokers even, they had the lead so late on there, and just conceding in such a fashion must have been painful, but they've got to keep fighting, keep going on, because it is overtime in game 2. And this one will decide whether or not Jokers get the advantage, make sure they won't get a loss in this series at the very least. But Cassia, they're fighting for the opportunity to still win it.
And Jokers there with their two players certainly showed why they were able to come forward and set enough goals to get the 4-0 victory previously. And it's a nice sign for them that they were able to actually get some goals in this, even after they were denied effectively a clean sheet in game number 1. Now they're going forward with a little bit more venom. They've got their entire team. They're certainly playing aggressively, looking for the passes towards each other with the awareness to turn around. I mean, that's how goal number 2 was scored. It's just quick awareness and keeping that ball cam on to be able to reinvigorate plays. Cassia not with that same mentality thus far. It's going to be interesting. Certainly the more rotationally based team and defensively aligned, but now they've got a chance to come forward. They've got a bit of speed. Krivs gets beaten out. Dogman beats past one, but makes it difficult for his teammate. Now goes up for an optimistic play. Comes again to this midfield tussle as each team plays their strategies and tries to find a gap through their opponents.
I'm glad you mentioned that as well, against the Joker's second goal, where it was incredibly risky for the first man to cut in that situation. It can be really useful if you recognize it in your right position, but they only had 2 players. If he makes that mistake, and there's a third man from Cassia that's just coming in to clean it up, then it's a free counter essentially, but not the way that the cookie crumbled in that instance. Now almost 2 minutes into this overtime, a free opportunity for Cassia perhaps, as this was taken over the first man. The second was flying in, almost hit the same man that missed it the first time. Not on target either, but pressure still on, except for this huge clear from Eclipse. Frequency didn't want to commit to it too early, as Creed should get the free clear here. Back to the midfield, no one to follow it up. Neither side wanted to be the one that makes that mistake, especially the individual players, not wanting to take too many risks, keeping the third man back and just waiting for that clear opportunity. And time will tell which one takes it.
Good consistency coming out from Cassia right now, cramping up their opponents, constantly sending the ball back towards the red net. Monix with a difficult touch here off the wall, doesn't get a clean hit, and is contested by Dogman, who's going to even get the second done coming through there. Gets a bump on the baseline, causing consternation for Cassia. Joker zone. No one really wants to dive into this. No one committing themselves to their opponent's corner. Here comes High Frequency, looking to try challenge Atomic, and has at least created the space for Dogman. Clips now going to be joining the fray. It's a dangerous ball high above the backboard. Demonics does well to bring this down, but it's certainly not clear and out of danger yet.
Yeah, didn't have the boost to follow it up. Eclipse does, though, kind of bounce awkwardly for the follow-up. No one going to be able to do that. It's just waiting for the play to develop. High Frequency gets it back into the midfield. Threat from Eclipse, but not too threatening. Not enough for Cassia to keep the first man back, who does push all the way forward. That's going to be on target, thankfully for Jokers. High Frequency read the danger, was able to get back into position and keep that one out. Creeve is going to take the back boost from Jokers here, which should give some opportunity. Misses the ball, however. Dogman with plenty of boost, but no life to use it with. Demonics has to pick up the slack. Now it's back down to Atomic, who doesn't get the boost either. Eclipse is starting to really starve out this back line of Cassia, but the pace just isn't there. They're not rotating back in to support each other. The second man has to be so much more proactive in these situations, or they're just going to be wasting the opportunities that they get.
Right now, again, this tussle continues. Both teams going forwards. Cassia almost looking for a magical opportunity.
Oh no.
The fighting with their life, playing with their chance in this competition. Is now looking to make up what goes above, gets the double, but it's just a little bit too high. And Atomic, lucky that didn't bounce back in. They're going to get a bit of space right now. Keeps maintaining the possession of the ball. It's a good attempt. Eclipse doesn't manage to get it too far out, and Atomic misses the follow-up shot there. Chance for Cassia, as we've had nearly an entire game of overtime, and yet neither of them has put on that last 10% that they need to secure the victory.
Yeah, it's just the finish that's failing them so many times, where they could have put the ball on target, or someone should have been there that wasn't. Whether or not that's an error in communication, in boost management, it's hard to say, but Creeve's going to be there for the long bomb at 4 minutes 38. Whoever guessed that time, you get my praise, but nothing else. You're going to get Cassia winning the second game and securing at the very least a draw in this series. Finally, something gave, and it was Joker's defense. They fell apart at the last hurdle, which is somewhat of a surprise. They had the lion's share of the control and the possession in that overtime, but as we kept alluding to, they just didn't take the opportunities that they created. They did the hard work, they did the legwork to get into those positions, especially from Eclipse. So many times you can see their 798 points had so much influence on this game, but he needs help. He needs some support from his teammates, because the solo plays aren't working. Cassia have wised up to that. They've recognized the threat and they've neutered it. So it falls to team play, and that's something that I don't know if Jokers practice all that much. Maybe they rely on Eclipse or Clerks, as he is otherwise known, a little too much, and that's hurting them. But whatever the case may be, something's got to change, because then now all they can fight for is a draw in this series.
And there is a lot you can change to reinforce that. I mean, Eclipse is doing a lot, certainly showing the proficiency in the mechanics to be able to go up confidently for those. Doesn't always execute it, but I mean, you don't get anything if you don't try. What you got to do now as the teammate is then work around that. Maybe have one player who's following very intently with them, so that if it does come out right and you do create some sort of opening, maybe you beat two players and you just need that second man to come in and take the extra shot. Otherwise, you've got to have one player who's more prone to sitting back a little bit, just countering out any of those Cassia long booming clears and just reinforce the pressure. Cassia, on the other hand, is doing that superbly. They're constantly just protecting the worst case scenario and then sending the ball forward and making, a game of inches out of this, where they're able to just constantly at least take two steps forward, one step back. We are in game number 3, and Cassia is now at least secured, like you said, to not lose the series and assuage their previous pain, I would say, coming out of week number 1. And this has got to feel good for them. Still Jokers with a lot to prove, a lot to do, and a lot to make up for after those first 2 games. Finally, he's going to be starting with all 3 players. Going to be having a little bit of vengeance to be sought.
Yeah, it's something that's unique to the 4-game series format of the RSC, in that once you've secured those first 2 games, you've lost that pressure of a defeat, of not making sure that you've got something from the series. At the very least, they've got 2 games. and that is crucial for their league position and just for their mentality going forward. They're not going to lose this series no matter what happens, no matter if they concede the first goal, as we see here. The opening minute, High Frequency finds his first of the series, and Joker's starting to find some form here on the sweeping cityscape of Sovereign Heights. I just hope that for Cassia's sake that they don't take their foot off the pedal. They have had a lot of fortune in this series. They had Dogman disconnecting, which, I mean, it didn't really help them all that much. They didn't score when it was the power play, but they took the first and the second game against a team they probably weren't expecting to get all that much from. They should continue to push on that. They have the momentum, and they shouldn't start to hide and start to cower back against a Joker side that perhaps looks a bit more renewed and reinvigorated going into the back half of the series.
Yep, I fully agree with you there. I mean, certainly just because you've got 2 points, every match counts now. It's not just the series score as a whole. And I mean, we talked about the differences that Jokers could make in terms of reinforcing Eclipse, who's doing a lot of work. I think Cassia has stuff to work on as we just look at this play busy developing. Cassia has been more of the defensive squad, as I've said a couple of times, but that can also not be your only mentality. We've seen them reluctant and reticent to come forward, to throw that first man aggressively into challenges, to have a second man waiting or pushing up with their aggression. And so I'd like to see that coming out from Cassia if they look to really take control of this. But that's a great shot. Oh, that is a beautiful angle to be able to read it out of the corner. And there's the bit of aggression we were looking for out of Cassia. They've got a second man waiting in the center. This one not needed, though. Past the dog man in defense and finds the top right-hand corner as a result. We have a level game.
It's rare that you get that space at the corner, that there isn't just a first man waiting to block you outright, as this was going to be awkward to deal with for the Cassia defense, but thankfully for them, not on target from the kickoff. As you said, Kriv was using that space well, followed through it on the play, and got the opportunity through to equalize the game. And going back to what you were talking about, being too defensive can obviously be detrimental to your prospects going forward. I am personally of the belief that defense wins championships. I think if you've got a better defensive team than an offensive one, nine times out of 10 you're going to be the better team, in my opinion, because a defensive mistake can cost a goal, can make you concede. An offensive one, you can always have another chance. There's always more opportunities. So I personally feel the team that can defend better has the better chance of winning the series. But it doesn't matter if you can't do anything on the other side of the field. The fact that Cassia were being able to pull back there and be a bit more defensive helped them. Because of the fact that Jokers were relying on Eclipse to be that front man and be the solo man, they could be a bit more defensive. But in this case, we're seeing Jokers start to feed off of each other a lot more. We saw High Frequency get a goal there. I think it was Dogman that found the second. And because they're starting to work much better as a team, their individual skills are coming out so much more and becoming so much more obvious. And that's giving them the boost that they need to take control of this game and maybe find their way back. But I'm still looking at Cassia to be the ones to make the difference.
Yeah, I think you're 100% right there. You mentioned that defensive mistakes cost you a goal, and they really did come to fruition immediately as Cassia just didn't get it. They had the good rotations to try and give themselves another chance, but Jokers, they were the ones to find that revitalization, that innovation that we were looking for. Eclipse did the work in the beginning to get the ball towards the center, quickly followed up, but that was a great attempt from Cassia. Atomic through the air, just doesn't manage to get enough on top of it to make the shot count. Joker is going to be able to hold on to their 1-goal lead for just a little bit longer. Slowing it down now is Demonics. He gives time for his opponents to get up and onto the backboard there. Second shot going to be finding into the bumper of Criminator, who's managed to get a little bit of collapse there into a teammate, or at least into an opponent, and then steals the boost from the teammate. Great defensive demo, though, to make up for that. The ball, unfortunately, still with the wrong trajectory down towards the purple net. Cassia, big clear. Flip's going to try to pick this up. Challenged immediately. Here's a bit of aggression in our final minute coming out from our squad in purple.
Yeah, leaving some smoking chassis out there on the field. There's just not going to be much difference because Eclipse is just a star-studded striker here, finds his way through and finds that second goal to secure here in the final minute of Game 3. Made sure that they're not going to be under the pressure of a potential 0-second equalizer, and just doing so much work that, I mean, he's been doing work the entire series. That's obvious. We've seen it from the stats alone, but it just wasn't quite working out. And Cassia here leaving more space than they hoped to. allows that rotational pressure that Eclipse brings to the fore. He's so clever in recognizing when he should and shouldn't cut, when he commits to the ball. And I've seen it a few times now with Cassia. The miscommunication there, that they're just getting on top of each other, stealing each other's boost, and that's hurting them just as much as Joker's offense going forward. But 15 seconds left is, I assume, pretty much all said and done in this game. Possibly a fourth for Jokers. They've done their due diligence. And Cassia, maybe they just got a little bit, not starstruck necessarily, but it's difficult to play on stream at the best of times. Maybe they got too complacent after winning the first 2 games, which they didn't do it entirely on merit at times. So I'm just hoping that they can find some way to rally themselves for this final game and really prove to us that this prospect division, this Ignis conference, is not just all said and done, that it's all in Joker's favor. Of course, they can't win this series, but if they find their way back here, then they will be at the top of the table.
PSG certainly seem to have an awkward tempo in that game number 3, and I think it comes down to what you say. Your mentality shifts when you've already secured that, at least not a loss, at worst a tie of the series, and you kind of then take the foot off the pedal for the first half, and then suddenly when they were 2-0 down, they went, okay, we really need to come back into this, we need to score a goal, and then they seem to over-rev, and they got themselves a little bit flustered, they got themselves out of their good rotations that we've been touting up the whole time. And I mean, at the end of that, then you just get someone like Eclipse to get a couple of nice little touches, and your scattered midfield defense that you're trying to rally is going to be picked apart. And a really good adaptation from Jokers. They constantly brought on the pressure that they have been doing the entire series. And now it was just that we had a different result. And I think that Joker's going to be ecstatic to bring up that first game and put themselves in contention to pull the series back towards, if not their favor, then a stalemate.
Yeah, equality is obviously something that Cassia want in this, that Jokers want in this regard even. And something that we recognized, clearly they did as well. All 3 players scored, all 3 players assisted, very much a team-oriented and determined play style that they had in that 3rd game on Sovereign Heights. But now we find ourselves in the wasteland, whether or not it will be the Jokers that find themselves a destitute husk by the end of this series. Should they win, should they fall and lose this final game, time will tell. But I think Jokers have just got the better of things here. They've really found that rhythm, and they're playing to each other's hymn sheets. I'm expecting them to continue their domination. Getting a 2-goal game at the very end there was important for their mentality and detrimental to Cassia's, no doubt. I just hope they've got the mental strength, the resilience to fight back here in the final.
Again, Joker's coming out at a blistering pace to scorch up the wastelands, try and find a bit of a track through there. It's still not coming out with it yet, but the intention is always really good. Cassia now starting to look to turn it around again, taking up more of that defensive mantle from the back line, giving some space to it, making sure that their touches are good. Unfortunately, they're being put under pressure and high frequency. Got to open it up with a well-placed slot into the top left-hand corner, and it just comes down to the passivity here of Cassia that gave him all the space in the world. And even as a good defender, it's almost impossible to get up to that quality of shot.
Yeah, a touch of deja vu here. Prior game, high frequency scored with a minute on the clock. Did it 3 seconds faster this time around. And once again opens the scoring for Jokers in the 4th and final. The ball is in Cassia's court now. Onus is on them. Creeve's not going to be able to find the second touch to follow up, but not a great position for Dogman to be in. Does manage to get the flick, not much boost. Goes for the second man. That's incredibly clever play from Dogman. It's going to leave a wide open net for frequency to find his brace. This was exceptional from Jokers. Defense to offense, instant counterattack. Dogman knew that Demonix was the last man. He couldn't connect with the ball. He was already way past it. Just go for the third man. Disruption was so important in that instance. And Cassia didn't have the cover. The second man was assuming that the play was going to go their way. There was no one back to recover. And an easy 2-0 lead for Jokers to obtain there. And so much better in terms of unselfish play from them, because Dogman recognizing just because you're not on the ball doesn't mean you can't affect what's going to happen down the field. So well played to them, and well, the struggling moments for Cassia here is that just about managed to scramble it back away from the third.
I think you said a very salient point there. You said that Cassia is almost waiting to see what's happening. They're playing a very reactive game, and they're trying to play the best thing from what they see. This is a great opportunity for Demonix to be able to take advantage of a loose ball in the center here. A couple of missed touches come out towards their own net. Risky jump there from Dogman, who tries to bail out an Eclipse. looks to scramble back. Demonics has closed it out, but there's a reactionary play, and it's proven to the detriment of Cassia a couple of times, where Jokers, with their extra pace and their never say die attitude, just kind of wrenches the ball away from these unsecured situations. But Cassia at least getting the one back. Still 3 minutes on the board here for them to find a second if they want. I mean, that really has seemed to be the oasis in the desert that they found here on Wasteland, because the vast majority still feels like it's in the hands of the Jokers, as they're going to take away a ball in the midfield once more at the hands of Dog.
It's the threat that they've come up against. It happened in the third, and it's obviously happening in the fourth. The strategy that they were employing at the start of the series worked because Jokers were only relying on that frontman, on the spearhead of Eclipse, to be the one that made the difference, that had the offensive spark that they needed. And Cassia recognized that. That's very easy to exploit for a defensive team. If they can just mute that one player and make sure they can't do anything on the front foot, then they just have to wait for their opportunities to appear. And especially in the first game, Jokers had none. They actually turned out that Cassia ended up scoring Joker's only goal as High Frequency, looking for their third goal of this game, not able to find it. Eclipse with a nice reset there to the bat bob, not quite enough to find the 2-goal lead once more. For Cassia, they just haven't adapted. It's as simple as that. They're too reactive, as you said, too passive, just waiting for their opportunities to appear rather than pushing forward and almost scoring a second own goal of the series there. And it just doesn't work in this situation when Jokers are confident, they're proactive, they're pushing forward as a group, as a unit, usually in twos when they're going forward. And it works so much better for their sake and for their strategy, because they're better individually. It's been clear to see throughout the series that they have that ability more so than Cassia, and so they have to change up their mentality, Cassia. That's the only way to bring this series back in their favor.
And I mean, this is only week 2. When I look at Prospect Division, I'm looking at guys who are trying to develop in terms of their entirety of the Rocket League career. And one of the big things about that is sometimes you got to take risks. Sometimes you just got to make big, ambitious plays and hope it works out, because you'll only learn the limitations of your play style when you do that. And right now, Cassia playing a little bit too defensively or retroactively is going to punish them in the long term. I really like what Jokers is doing, where they're going, okay, we'll try it 10 times, we'll get it right 6, maybe next time, and by week number 8 they will be getting it right 8 times out of 10. And I mean, that's how you develop. I really like to see that. So just my personal ramblings after far too long playing this game, but you got to risk it to get the biscuit, guys.
It's the right philosophy. Failure is the mother of success. If you're not willing to make the mistakes and look like a fool and embarrass yourself. I mean, maybe it's difficult to do on stream. You don't want it to be such a public affair, but you have to make those differences. And well, it's the same thing happening again much later this time around, as we're talking about the minutiae, the little things that make the difference in the Rocket League game. The big difference, the headline here, is that Jokers have managed to rally back a little too late, probably, in their opinion. They probably will be feeling that they should have taken game 2, despite the fact they had that disconnect. But they have managed to bring back equality to this series, pulled out for a draw, and if I'm not mistaken, had preliminarily taken first position in the Ignis Conference, I think just by 1 game. They were at 4 when the 2 teams above them were at 5, so they should be at 6 now, just about. And it makes things very interesting going into week 3 for the top of this division. But for Cassia's sake, well, it's just a difficult situation to be. I'm in it personally. I'm playing in EU where my team has a ton of draws, and it can just feel so devastating to know that if you had just one better game, one moment where you could have made a slight difference in your game, and it's a victory. It's the difference between a victory and a loss, especially. So for them, they'll be feeling hard done by. For Jokers, I think it's a bullet dodged in a lot of respects. And very even in terms of post-series stats. We see a lot more shots from Jokers, of course, but the goals and the saves very neutral in terms of how they actually faced up against each other.
It's interesting that the saves especially is neutral between these, especially when you consider the deficit in terms of shots. Jokers seem to be the ones putting in more opportunities. Sometimes a little impotent or wide or uncontrolled, but they were certainly...
Quality versus quantity.
Yeah, right? I mean, if you're going to take that many shots, you're expecting more of them to go in, and that's exactly what did happen. Unfortunately, the timing on them just wasn't there. And it's so fascinating. And I kind of do feel like a draw was the deserved result here. I mean, these two organizations are deadlocked at the top of the leaderboard. I mean, all the way down to Prospect, they're still tied neck and neck. But like you say, I think either team could have found success in this if they had just tightened up a little bit in one game or another where it was so close and had something to go. Now my question to you is there a standout player that really made a difference for their squad?
I think the obvious pick would be Eclipse or Clerks on the side of Jokers. In the first 2 games especially, he was the one that was relied upon to make the difference. They recognized that area throughout the series as it went on, as it evolved, that they need to work better together as a team. So for Joker's sake, it would definitely be Eclipse. On the Cassia side, it's a lot more difficult to say just because of the fact as a team they tend to play more defensively, whether that's the way that they want to play or it's just something that they've settled into. As you said, it's only week 2. There's still plenty of time for them to develop and figure themselves out. They had all of preseason, of course, but it's sort of a different mentality that you have in preseason to actual league play. It's time will tell whether or not they change up how their philosophy works there. But after a couple draws, they'll probably not be wanting to change anything too drastically. And I expect them to be able to build upon what they already have. Because the fact that they haven't lost yet, positive. The fact that they haven't won yet, well, it depends who you ask whether or not that's something that really needs to be worked on. But they're not in the dumps just yet, just because they're low in the table. It's early on. I think they've got more opportunity, more potential there. As I mentioned before the series began, they drew with Omega Force, who topped their preseason group. So they're not pushovers, and it was clearly shown here by taking Jokers to the edge, and I expect them to do a lot better as the season goes on.
Yeah. Credit to both these teams. A really good start to the season, at least in this game, starting to come together. We do now move across to game number 2, and you may have noticed that the center screen is not taken up by our resident host, and of course, that is because he is going to be playing here. Game number 2, we moved across to the rival tier, with Dynasty Jack's going to be taking on a UnitOx Gelfie, and Gelfie is an interesting squad. We're going to get across to this Jack squad because Gelfie is one that I got to cast last week, and certainly a tough loss for them in that 1-3 defeat to Momentum, whereas Dynasty Jack's currently sitting 2-4-2 against. But Gelfie looked like a strong team that showed a lot of potential and were just overcome by a proficient Momentum outfit. The other side here, we do have Dynasty Jacks, and Greybeard sitting warming up. He was a little nervous going into this beforehand. So there is the lineup. Complex RL, again, another player that I've come across multiple times in ranked ladders and casual matches. A proficient player, certainly topping the leaderboard there, but I mean a fantastically well balanced. And then the captain, having only just made their way home, now actually the lowest ranked of the squad. Thoughts on if we are going to see Complex, I mean, with those 12 goals to his credit as well out of that first series, going to be taking more of a forward position?
I think it would be negligent to not have him in the team, at the very least, with the most goals, highest CMV rating as well. You would expect him to be the difference maker, as you would have Eclipse. He had 26 goals going into that series, and I didn't count how many he ended up getting in that one. I assume he added to his tally quite proficiently, and I expect the same of a player like Complex. But just because of the situation we're in, I'm looking at Greybeard. I'm watching to see what he does. I looked at the ball chasing stats of his last series. I'm going to call it out. He got 10 demos in his last series. If he doesn't match that or exceed it, I'm just going to be disappointed. That's the only thing that I'm expected to see from him, is being that disruptor. As I get some information in my ear, Ultrism, that we actually have a substitution. The captain of this team, Nanachi, is not going to be playing. Stacey Jacks is going to be subbing up. Only 5 CMD difference, so there might not be that much difference in terms of skill, but it's an interesting one either way.
Okay, a Cloak's coming in for the on the other side, actually. But I mean, yeah, it certainly does add things up. I mean, Greybeard did put out a little while ago that he wants to, I think, top the most number of demos in RSC. I think this is something he's actually aiming for. He is a powerhouse in terms of the physicality plays going out there. And certainly that can create a lot of skill. I mean, he is someone that has touted that the mechanics are a little far beyond him. Teaching an old dog new tricks like flip resets is not something that he may be looking to rely on, but maybe playing more of that hustle and bustle. On the other side, this Gelfie side from UnitOx has been quite fantastic to watch. I mean, I look at Karma, who's actually their sub coming in there, and we talked about this earlier. What the CMV points means is almost negligible when it comes to this, because anyone can shine on any given day. Karma won Rhinocast's MVP in the game that they played last week, and so certainly they've got a depth to their roster that they can certainly call across. And then the rest of the team just plays a great unified game, and needs to be careful about not giving away early goals.
So do, although they have some pedigree in this regard. They secured first in their preseason group with three victories and 1 loss, 11 games won to 5 games lost. But they narrowly lost their first series last week. And I assume that's going to be something that maybe plays in the back of their minds. I looked at the ball chasing. It was the first 2 games were very close, and then I think it was they won 5-1 or something in the final game. So maybe they're a late series type of team, in the same way that Jax were in the one that we just watched. Time will tell, but I think the most interesting part of this series, the most thing that we should talk about, is the fact that these 2 teams are right next to each other in the league table, which is sort of to be expected at the very beginning. They're 1 game apart. Jax drew their last series, Gelfie lost their first, so they're going to be fighting extra doggedly, I feel like, to one-up one another. Gelfie, if they win this series 3-1, they'd be neutral in terms of game points, but they'd be closer to the mid-table. I just expect it to be a clash of, well, with the way that we know Greybeard plays, there might not be very many chassis on the field at any one given time. We'll have to see if it's a 3v3 or not. But I just expect Jax to sort of, because they drew their last series, they desperately want to win this one. They failed to perform in preseason. They got a victory, a draw, and 2 losses. It's an early indicator of success for both sides, because they're currently rubbing elbows in 7th and 8th. So I expect, as I said, Jax to be the more persistent and more determined to get a victory here. Gelfie obviously wanted to neutralize the loss in week 1. I'm just looking forward to it based on how close they are. And I because I didn't clock it initially and I thought it was Stacey coming in for the sub, Clerks is coming in from the prospect team. He's just played. He's already got an hour under his belt. He just drew that series. Will fatigue be a problem? Will that come into factor in this series? I think it will. Playing Rocket League for a long time can do a lot to your mentality and how you approach the game. I think he might struggle as the pace ups into Rival as well. That's going to be fascinating to see.
It is. And one of the big things about a big substitution like this, especially early into the season, I mean, I know that there was preseason, which give teams a little bit of time to gel together, but now you bring in a sub who's not even on your roster, and that can completely shatter the cohesion. I mean, Jax is a team that I think is looking to inflict that sort of psychological damage on their opponents. If Greybeard is going to be playing that bruiser role that we think he is, because you then can completely disrupt your opponent's rotations. But now you got to be very careful. You've got one player, Complex, who's going to be taking that forward spearhead. You've got someone who's going to be looking for maybe aggressive demos at opportune times with a little asterisk if it goes right. You now have a third man that you need to be reliant on with both the skill and awareness to take up the right positions and be that worst case scenario dead stop. Now you've got to worry about that. Are you going to have that sort of confidence in them? Is it going to change their playstyle? Is it going to be someone that they are going to reliably and confidently pass to or try and give the ball off to, or are they going to be taking this a little bit more personally and take the mantle on their shoulders? Is a very difficult question, I think, that they're going to have to adapt to, especially considering how late in the hour it has been for the substitution.
Yeah, certainly agree. I hope we get the answer to that question rather rapidly, as we have had to reset the server. Apologies for the delay, but I personally just think it's all build-up. It's all hype for the moment to see. We get to see Greybeard on stream, but not in the booth, not with his beautiful face in front of you. We're going to be seeing his gameplay, and I said to him before the stream began that I only ever have good things to say about him. He's such a great, wonderful person, but Well, it's going to be determined by his play on the field. That's going to be the ultimate decider for my opinion in this regard. I'm not going to hold back if he because for me, someone that demos too much, as you said, if they're a bruiser, that if you have the right strategy, right tactics, is extremely exploitable because they have to use a lot of boost. They're out of position so much. If every single player on your team is ready for that and recognizes the threat of that, they're useless. If that is the only thing that they can do and the only way that they can contribute meaningfully to your team, then it just becomes a 2v3 essentially. It can be annoying, there can be a little fly buzzing around and getting in your face, but if you know how to deal with them, if you've got the mentality and the right way to deal with it, then it's just so much easier in my experience, especially against teams that are hyper aggressive, that are always setting the first and always the second man. If there's barely a third man, if there's no counter-attack defense, it's just so obvious how you break that team down. Whether or not that's something that rival level players consider, I don't know. It's hard to say, but I just hope if that is the case, they do recognize it, and then Greybeard has to switch up. He has to do something different, and then that's when we see whether or not he's actually a well-rounded and an efficient player of the game for his team and individually as well. So I'm just excited to see how he's able to adapt if that is the case.
Yeah, I mean, we're going all of this on illusion anyway, because we don't actually know how Greybeard is played. I've never seen him in a competitive 3v3 lobby before, and so whether he's going to take up that's his sole job is to go for demos, I would much rather see, and I do this for any player who does like to get involved a little bit more physically, it supplements their other good basics. You know, you're getting a pass towards the center, you're taking it up into the corner and passing it across, and then on your rotation out, you've got that awareness. If you've got that mentality behind you, you're a far more dangerous force to be reckoned with, because then they've kind of added to their value as opposed to replace their value with something a little bit more tempestuous. So we're going to see if Greybeard can really start off a play and then hand off and go for the demos. Absolutely perfectly fine with it, but certainly has put himself out there, and I fully respect that. As a caster, I retired many years ago from the competitive scene there, and I think that if people ever come and join into my stream, they'll see why. It's because it is easy to talk about what people should be doing. The actual execution, a lot more difficult to pull off. So we'll have to see that. What I'm wanting to see as well, Twitch chat, you guys have not really weighed in one way or another what we think we're going to see. I'm not seeing any big cheers for one side or another. So come on, I know that there's points being thrown around. I want to see some banter, some trash talk coming out here as well. Just what are we expecting to see as we're going to be going into our second game for the night here in RSC SSA season number 3? Well, of course, going forward with Dynasty Jax versus UnitOx Gelfie in our our 4-game series. 4 games guaranteed for you here, second out of the 4 for the night.
Are you expecting some partisanship, some tribalism from the SSA scene?
Of
Maybe
course.
they're a lot more mature and composed than you're positing here. Maybe they're the kind of guys that prefer to let the field do the talking, let the players make their mark rather than any kind of, well, I don't know what you would call it. That's not the kind of person I am to trash talk and to big myself up or to support, overly support any kind of team. But if you're looking for someone to support, if you're a neutral sat there riding the fence, then perhaps it's Gelfie and UnitOx that you want to be looking at as a massive double commit from the Jax defense. Opens that wide for Sora there to get the first goal of the game, quick and easy, and Gelfie have the advantage.
I mean, that was great.
In a Merc, and I'm already angry.
That just shows
my
the
goodness.
mentality, right? I mean, they are coming forward at least onto the offense. It was a great jump up from Stolzy, ready to take it to the air if they need to. Sora going to be able to handle this and carry it to the corner. Actually gets a decent touch off the wall, as well as Domino looking to challenge Complex in the air. Complex comes off the better, manages to even bait out a second. Now it's all up to our sub in here in the background, trying to make things work. Domino comes back to reinforce. Sorry, it wasn't the sub. It's Stolzy, of course, in the background here for Gelfie. He doesn't manage to get this out of the corner. Now they've dedicated 2 players towards it. Complex looking to bring it towards the center. Awkward touch, but nearly gets it on the inside of Sora. The pinch, a little bit too much venom on that, though. And it goes across as Complex looks to slow it down. Greybeard into the assault as well. Suddenly Gelfie put under a trepidatious position and can't clear it out. It's come for too long. And there's Eclipse. He was such a stellar performer in our previous game, and it's only right that he picks up the first goal for Jax here.
And well, you could argue he's warmed up, so he's ready and hot to go for this series, as opposed to potentially the other 5 players on the field. And this is a massive opportunity as well to prove his pedigree in a tier above, and to prove that he deserves potentially to be even higher than the prospect division. But he's going to have to do a little bit more here, as well. He was not the person to be responsible for this one. As Greybeard gets a taste of his own medicine, taken off the smokes right at the goal line. And another go-ahead goal for Gelby. Get that lead back rather rapidly, you have to say. Jax's proliferation on the offensive side completely taken out of contention. Back to a 1-goal game for UnitOx. And Sora going to be the third man to try and keep this roaring Jax offense from developing too quickly. Eclipse attempted to get it through the corner, but will be muted out by Domino. Now Complex, the leading goal scorer, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, of this team. But it doesn't matter if you lead. It happens what you're doing right now as Greybeard gets his name on the board. I'm not sure how many demos he's taken, but this one will be recorded. An equalizing goal once more for the Merc Magnet. It's, I don't know how to feel. I'll be honest, Altruism. Happiness, is that what I'm supposed to feel when I see a Merc do that? No, I don't accept it.
I'm happy to see my fellow co-caster come in with a great shot there. And I mean, it's that mentality. Sometimes it's not just aggression for demo's sake, it's the aggression to come in and challenge a loose ball like that, and certainly cramps up their opposition as he levels out the series. And I'm starting to see a bit of a trend here for this Dynasty side. They go for very aggressive plays. They're going for high risk, high reward, sort of throw everything at the ball, whereas Gelby has been a lot more patient. There's some creativity shown out here by Domino on the side there. And Sora tries to shut this down, but Eclipse takes it far too high up the ball. And there's a bit of a vacant defense. He's going to pop it out just a little bit farther. Stolzy has been stellar in defense. Now going to be a little bit complicated in terms of taking it off the wall, as once more the Merc back into the attack. But no, Greybeard. I gave you the credit for that last goal, but that soft little touch, that is only possible with the Merc.
Gelby, come on, please, someone. They have to stop this. But yes, I will credit where credit is due. Greybeard is getting into dangerous areas and is getting the shots away. It's not his fault if the defense can't match it, as finally Jax take a lead in this opening game. Already 5 goals, just over the halfway mark. And if this is any indication of the rest of the series, the way the rest of the series is going to go, then we might be here for a while, because that's a lot of goals scored in ways that I didn't expect them to be. I thought stepping up to the next division, up to rival, that defenses would be a bit more stalwart, be a bit more hard to get by. And clearly that is not the case. Whether or not that's just a factor of these two teams, it's hard to say. But as time goes on, we can clearly see that they're matching each other stride for stride, getting punches in, regardless of who is actually sending them. As Greybeard proves here to get this one to the backboard. Eclipse tries to find his way through. Complex with a nice little touch, brings it back down, finds the goal they were looking for. I believe their first of the game, and allows a crucial 2-goal lead for Jax to hold on to now.
Such a risky play, being third man and coming forward all the way underneath the dropping ball from Complex. But it gets a streak of luck, picks it up, and like you say, the deftness of that finesse touch, managing to slide it through there when everyone from Gelfie stuck in the air. Gelfie going to be striking back. Ooh. Fortunately, they punch wide and it goes against the upright. Now Eclipse looks to challenge Stolzy on the back line. Good pre-roll jump there. Manages to get a Complex challenge in the midfield, but he's up to the task as Eclipse wastes no time to get into the air. Jax with just 1 minute left to defend their 2-goal lead. And they've done so well up until now. It's just whether this Gelfie side can be proactive as we need. Optimistic jump from Greybeard, leaves the ball down, but no one from Gelfie facing the right direction to take advantage. Still the ball not clear.
A while to say it, but the prospect player on the field appears to be the most mechanically adept.
Yeah.
Eclipse has been the one going for the aerials, going for the resets and the double taps, and not quite working out. But as we posited in the prospect series that it was a part of, it's more about the opportunities that you're given, taking it, is neither here nor there. If you're at least attempting it, you're putting that into the back of your opponent's mind. Free shot off the bow there, right from the midfield line. A long shot allows Eclipse to find, I believe, their second goal of this game, make it the third for Jax, and make this scoreline ever so slightly more embarrassing for UnitOx to look at. They're going to have to be fighting tooth and nail just to get back into this series psychologically, if not by merit of the score, the series score itself. And the Jax, they've just kind of grown into this one, taken more opportunities obviously than Gelby, but it's still, despite the scoreline, I think been a rather equal game.
Well, what I haven't seen in terms of the equality between them is the intention. I haven't felt a flavor coming out of Gelfie in this one right now. Dynasty is playing hard and fast. I mean, that's pretty obvious to me right now, that they're going for these big jumps, that they're getting themselves into a easily punishable position. But Gelfie hasn't taken advantage of that. I mean, it's still a fantastic shot tally coming out from them, far more than I expected, actually, when we looked at the state of the game. But the 0 saves is a big part of why Gelfie really struggled here. I mean, yeah, you're going forward. Yeah, you're getting these attempts here and there, but you're not building from the back line. And like you said earlier, when you're going into a series, defense wins championships.
I mean, 2 fewer shots and 3 more goals for Jax here. Coming out of that game, clearly efficiency was the name of it, and they didn't need to score 5. They only needed to score 3, but they took their liberties, they took their chances, and that can start to seep into the back of your opponent's mind if you're scoring just for free, essentially scoring at will, and they need to shore that up rapidly, Gelby, if they don't want to be on the back foot here going further into the series. As you said, and well, as you said that I said, defense wins championships is, they're not fighting for the championship right now, I think is the thing to think about. They're not necessarily thinking that far ahead. Obviously, it comes down to the little things of making sure you do the consistency, the basics right. We talked about it in Prospect, but it happens in every single division. And Jax, I think, just have that better inclination. You said it quite well. Hard and fast is their mentality. I think that goes through the entire franchise, not just individual teams. I think that is the mentality that the GM will have been wanting to instill in their teams, and got the right players in for that. And I think it is working wonders for them so far. But I say it a lot as well, that they might, as the series goes on, they might want to trade the goals, the 5 goals that they got in that game for games later on. So scoring a ton in one game doesn't necessarily mean you're all that much better. It will just have to see how Gelby responds, but I don't think it's necessarily going to be so cut and dry for Jax.
Yeah. I mean, having 100% shooting efficiency in your game number 1 is a great sign, so at least Jax have got a little bit of a wiggle room that they can bring back on if Gelfie can manage to stabilize their defense. Right now, it has to worry. Greybeard takes a good shot, but it's high, cannot follow it up afterwards. Eclipse sitting all the way in the back line again, has a bit of space to work with. Eventually, an early jump comes out from Gelfie. Sora going to be able to play this one back towards himself. The extra touch from Domino is just wanting, and therefore can't manage to find the man in the center. And again, Gelfie just looking a bit staggered on their attacks. We saw earlier they threw a big double commit in above the backboard. That meant that no one was there for the final shot. Here they can't really get a pass breaking out towards the center. Now they're going to be doing the work from their own back line to try to go all the way. Stolzy with a great jump after a lucky pinch out of their own defensive half. Again, there's just nothing to get to it. Jack's speed is just up to the task, and even right now, Complex dispossesses their opponent of the position on the field, and Eclipse uses this now to create a bit of an offense. Can he find someone in the center? Doesn't manage to get it past Sora.
As they try and push back now themselves, Jax. Very much of a different landscape in this game. Not a single goal scored, and we're almost at the halfway mark. Something's changed for both sides, it feels. Of course, Gelby, the beneficiaries of that, the fact they haven't conceded nearly as many as they would have at this time. As the halfway mark finally hits, Stolzy looking to find that opening goal, do it all themselves, as all 3 defenders on Jax were ready to cut that out. Eclipse finds Complex, but only to the midfield. Domino not going to be able to find their second touch. No follow-up for this Gelvi offense once more, which just seems to be the tail of the tape in a lot of situations that they find themselves in. The first man does a little bit of work, but then they don't have the support, the follow-up that needs to happen from the rest of the team, and an opportunity has been wasted as a result.
Oh, again, just a little bit too slow on executing these plays as Gelfi. They're going to be trying to get it through here. Sora going to put it down there, but no quick follow-up shot, no pre-engagement comes out there. And I mean, this is something that I really do feel about this sort of rivals into a little bit of the lower elite tiers. You're starting to get good enough at your own personal mechanics. You can hit the ball reliably, but it's now starting about refining your read of the game. When are your opponents overextended? When have they made a mistake? And how can I then best punish that? And wasting absolutely no time in that decision-making process. And right now, Jax, they're the ones certainly not wasting the time in terms of trying to go for those punishing plays, but not executing it as perfectly. Gelfi instead going for the higher percentage executions, but a little bit late to the play, means that they aren't going to be able to come through. And neither team managing to synergize those two aspects together means that we're again in the final minute, a deadlock. But Greybeard has something to say, a little too high. He tried for the slightly softer shot, but it still had too much impetus on it. Still, Jax hanging around. This good pass coming out from Eclipse, and Complex was up towards it. Greybeard at least stops it in its track before the counter-attack can be assembled here. Eventually assembled, it does not come to fruition.
As we are finally well into the final minute, as I was saying, both teams will be wishing that they could take some of those goals from the first game and just inject them into this. Jax especially, as they haven't managed to find that much opportunity, that much fortune going forward, as a big demo does open up some space, but thankfully for them, Stolzy was spawned on that side, didn't want to commit to the ball, and that leaves so much space for Eclipse. It eventually managed to pinch it off of a defender. That's why the speed, 103 kilometers per hour there by the final count, managed to take it all the way through the defense. And we saw that so many times from Eclipse. One that was most prominent in game 2 of the last series, where he's just sneaking into that little bit of an area like a poacher, like a striker in the game of football, waiting for that chance rather than rotating immediately. It becomes such a threat because he sits in your peripheral, right on your shoulder, and waits for that chance to come, takes it so late that it's going to be incredibly difficult for Gelvi to find their way back, but they are pushing forward. They do have a little bit of time. I don't know why Domino's going for the pre-jump there, but Sora wasn't able to find them or the target, and so late into the game, that go-ahead goal was devastating for UnitOx. Dynasty take the second, and in such a different fashion to the first. So much of this game was about midfield control and limiting opportunities, and clearly we could see there the shot differential still in UnitOx's favor, but the saves so much more prominent for Jax. Their defense was so much more important in this game. The fact that they proved that as well, that they can defend and attack, has made it so much more difficult for UnitOx. And going forward now, we see the opposite situation, because in the last series in Prospect, the Dynasty team went 2-0 down, and now this rival team has managed to go 2-0 up, secured at the very least a draw. Now it's just all down to how UnitOx reacts.
Yeah, I think they're going to be ecstatic with that position. You really can't now throw it away. I mean, that's something that you do have to keep in your mentality. Don't throw it away. I mean, you don't want to now back yourselves off. We did see Jax temper their aggression a little bit in that game. They were still prepared to go forwards when the opportunities presented themselves, but they had the awareness to at least retreat back when there was the push forward, because Gelvi did throw a couple of great attempts in there. They had some really nice aerial plays. They threatened the backboard nicely. No passing plays are really to be seen just yet, and that's certainly something that they've left themselves willing and able to improve upon. But Gelvi now, they struggled in the first half of the series last week. They managed to only bring it back in game number 4. Like you said, maybe they are just one of these teams that secures a little bit better, but here they're going to be bringing action straight away from the kickoff of game number 3. Gelfi here, led by a pass of Domino, and Sora takes the air with pace, shoots with aplomb, and secures goal number 1 in the first 10 seconds.
That is absolutely huge for Gelvi's sake, getting that lead, which, I mean, they already managed to get in the first game anyway, but getting it now in the third on Sovereign Heights, getting some of that momentum back especially, will work wonders for them. But it's a fragile lead, as all one-goal leads are. They're going to have to get that second goal just to secure it for themselves in their mind, not just on the score sheet. as Jax will continue to do what Jax do, push forward, be a menace. As I've honestly not seen Greybeard do that much disruption. I've not seen that many demos from him. Maybe I just haven't been paying attention. Maybe I haven't noticed it. But it's not helping them either way as Stolzy finds the second. Very similar start as we saw in the first game. That 2-goal lead for Gelby has happened again. But this time they have to make sure they're not complacent, that they don't rest on their laurels and defend just as well as they attack.
Yep. I mean, Stolzy there, we saw him jumping up for a great touch there. And I highlighted his aerial speed in that game number 2 as well. Certainly someone that you need to worry. Again, once more, quickly into the attack. And this is a great build-up play. Greybeard, he has not been present, and rather disappointingly so in terms of the demos. I have been watching out for them, don't worry. But there, that was a spectacular save. Unfortunately, now they've thrown 2 players into the air. Domino going to be the one on the receiving end at the bottom here. A little bit of creativity in terms of his rotations to be able to get his wheels back under him. But Stolzy there, and Sora also waiting in tow. No one from Jax wanting to challenge this immediately means that they're going to have work to do a couple of yards further back into their own half. It's a great clear coming out there, but Stolzy intercepts it, kills it down there. Domino once more lobs it back up towards their own players, and Eclipse there. Prospect level player coming in clutch on the defense. Gonna have to do so once more as this sent high with Domino in tow.
Not quite enough to find his way through 2 defenders. Eclipse, once again, prospect level player. I mean, it harps to the fact that CMV is not the be-all, end-all. It is not the only thing that determines your skill level. Clearly, he's able to play in rival and make a mark. To push us through 2 defenders here. Makes it impossible to defend, and Complex, recognizing the opportunity, dives upon it, finds the first for Jax in game 3, and puts themselves back into a driver's seat position. They managed to halve the deficit at the very least, with plenty of time left to go, which is something they recognize is extremely important, considering the way that they won game 2 so late on. They need to get back into this one sooner rather than later. Gelby, once again, falling to the same faults that they did prior in this series, so we'll have to see if they can continue to adapt, to change the way that they think about the game and how they approach these situations. Sora doing well to control this one, doesn't quite get the follow-up. I think actually got a reset off of his opponent there. That was incredible to see, but it didn't quite come to fruition. Gelby can't find that 2-goal lead once again, this time as they collide with each other. Domino and Sora getting in one another's way, but it doesn't quite hurt them as Stolzy to pick up the slack. Just only get it to the first man, and plenty of space for Jax to counter-attack here. They have to start working on pushing forward and controlling possession a bit better, though, because Gelby have got the better of things right now. Stolzy finds their goal off an incredible play from Sora through this corner, recognizing they could take it to the backboard, and they just had to pancake it. It seems like Eclipse couldn't do anything more there. Stolzy, I think their first, maybe their second goal of this game, but they've been prominent throughout the series.
Yeah, I mean, Gelby has been doing a great job of controlling the midfield right now. Jax struggling to really clear the ball down. That's a great shot, though. There's going to be work to do, and Sora up to the task. Absolute calm under pressure there, and even managing to turn this pressure down the other side. Eclipse lofts it high to buy some time for the teammates, but Domino, did he get the flip reset? No. He doesn't, but he does get it over one. Is there a follow-up shot coming through there? Stolzy manages to beat Eclipse towards this, and what a pace into the air, that extra little touch, and Domino would have loved to be able to finish that off for themselves. But I mean, at the end of the day, 4 goals on the board here from Gelby. They really have just taken the tempo under their own wing.
We've taken this by the scruff of the neck, grabbed those reins and firmly holding on to them, recognizing maybe defense is not working out for us. We need to start being a lot more aggressive and take the fight to Jax, make them the ones to respond. Because once you go down to a deficit such as this, you have to start throwing the baby with the bathwater at times. You have to start taking more risks than you maybe were hoping to. I mean, this is Jack's mentality anyway. It's a great fake coming through there. Oh my goodness. This opened up so much space for Stolzy, but it's all Sora. The opportunity created in this situation, the threat that he levels on this field, pulls up 2 defenders. They have to respect it. They have to assume the shot's coming in, but plays the long game. plays the psychological side of things, and manages to secure, well, allows his teammate to secure a 4-goal lead now for Gelfi, and looking for the 6th. Incredible play there. I'm adoring the control and the confidence coming out from this side now, finally waking up in this series and showing us why they deserve to be putting their names further up the table in their conference. They've still got a little bit of work to do as the final minute. There's still plenty of time for Jax to level some threat against them, but they've secured themselves an incredible position going into the final game.
Going to be a very difficult ask to try and bring back this game at least, but you can try and at least get the momentum and the psychology back on your side, because Jack's under pressure here. Dominoes puts in that 6th goal, and it really has been all the Gelfi show. Ironically, you said that the defensive line wasn't, and mentality wasn't working out for them, and since they've gone onto offense, they've looked a lot more potent. But even their own defense, they've been spectacular at keeping a number of shots out of their own goals, and it just comes from those cleaner, more consistent rotations. The mentality is behind them, the confidence in going for these plays, and the lack of selfishness that we've seen from Gelfi in game number 3 now has been a hallmark of why they've done so well, and so excited to see this. But I mean, as we count down to the last 30 seconds, it seems to be the story of the night here, that game number 1 and 2 certainly not going to tell the entirety of the story going forward.
No, absolutely not. And just going back to it, harping on about it at this point, it's the debate that will go on, that will rage to the end of time. You know, what is better, offense or defense? Some will argue offense is the best defense. It doesn't matter if you're not defending your net, if the ball's nowhere near it. If you can keep your opponent penned into their own half, if you've got that pressure and that rotation, that positioning, then it's irrelevant. And if you can score 5 more goals than your opponent, well, you're always going to be in a better position than them. Of course, it forces them to play a certain way, to take more risks and be more aggressive. And that is so much more exploitable in the midfield on defense. And you can clearly see by the stats they're dominated by the blue. And it's just an incredible performance. Sora's got the least amount of points, but to me, made the biggest difference throughout that entire game. The opportunities that they were creating, the facilitation was excellent. And it's something that was strange, that was lacking in the first 2 games, which it was strange to see based on what we've seen now. But maybe it is that they just needed time to warm up to figure themselves out. Stolzy there, of course, the standout, 4 goals was the headline there. That so much of that was based on his teammates' ability to create those chances, and it was excellent response from them, and I'm hoping to see that continue.
Yeah, I certainly don't think that the stats, even in terms of assists, really tell the whole story, because so many of those plays came down to an entire team effort. I mean, even with there was that one point where you talked about the 2 players from Gelfi colliding with each other, and then Stolzy came through the center there. You could hear the communications even while we're not in their Discord channel. There was such good cohesion behind the side that they were ready to back each other up. When one player was going for an aggressive push, you could see the mentality there was, I'm with you, I'm following, I'm in the center, I'm in position. And the pass immediately onto the backboard was picked up quickly by their follow-up. And I mean, that's something that we really want to see here. I mean, a great performance for them. And like you said earlier, maybe a couple of those goals would have loved to have been more evenly distributed across the rest of the series. We would have had one tight matchup, but one more tight matchup is all we have to offer you here between the Dynasty Jacks and the UnitOx Gelfi squad. As we go into game number 4, Jack's still poised to be able to take this series as a victory. Gelfi would love to even this out, especially after their dominant performance, and the ball flashes for a second. It goes in nonetheless as Domino picks up goal number 1.
Under the harsh lights. Couldn't quite handle the heat there, Complex. Domino just far too powerful, far too strong. Barrels their way through, bullies their way through. And to get Gelfi their opening goal of game 4, I believe that's now 6 goals unanswered in this series, the latter half of this series. So incredible from them to have switched things up so much, so drastically, and fight their way back to an equal series as Domino attempts to find the net there, but will be wayward to the left. Easy enough for Complex to find the first touch, not quite the second, but it's picked up by Greybeard. Not quite enough boost, but does get it to the backboard. Free enough for Nanachi, who I've only just noticed has been subbed in. Clerks has been taken out, I'm not entirely sure why that is, whether or not they just wanted to get more games in for Nanachi. I'm sorry, I'm going to mispronounce that every single time I say it, but it is such a massive factor here. Whether or not, is this the change that Jax felt they needed to make? It's clearly not working, as we found the second goal here for Gelvi already. I'm not sure if that was the right decision.
I mean, I was going to say at the end of this that I felt that Clips or Clerks, as you say, was the standout player, ironically enough, coming in as the lowest rated of the squad out of the 6 players here. Nanachi, the captain, coming back in, though, and going to take a little bit of time to warm up. It does not have a lot of time to work with. 3.5 minutes here. Gelfi's already secured themselves a comfortable 2-0 lead, and Complex has to come off his own backboard just to try and keep this towards the halfway mark. Doesn't manage to clear that halfway mark, and instead Sora sits waiting in position. I mean, it sends in a great redirect off the back here, but his pass coming off the challenge there. The respawn of Greybeard means he doesn't manage to re-engage this and get the challenge up in time. And suddenly now Nanachi with even more work to do as 3 minutes, 3 goals.
Respawn of Greybeard, a sentence that rings throughout this Wasteland arena, as I'm sure is used to that being the opposite, being the aggressor in that particular situation. And the situation is dire currently for the Dynasty. Jax has 4 goals to the good for UnitOx. With 3 minutes left to go, it's just from bad to worse. I'm not quite sure how they've crumbled this much. Obviously, the substitution will have had an effect, but it is just swapping out one player shouldn't be so devastating to a team's position and rotation, as Greybeard finds himself the victim of another attack there by an opposing player. Gelvi looking to find their 5th, I'm sure. As many goals as they possibly can. Goal difference can make a difference at the end of the season. It can be a tiebreaker if it should ever be necessary. It's something that you won't necessarily be thinking about this early on, but you're going to want to score as many goals as you can anyway, just for stats. So for Gelvi's sake, it's business as usual. They don't want to change the way that they're playing because it's clearly working. And on the other side, per game to try, at the very least, secure an opportunity for an overtime to get this series back in their favor, because we said it before, when they'd won the second game, they've secured at least a draw. That's not what you want. You want a victory no matter what. So they're going to be looking for that, and at this point, they're finding ways through. They've got an incredible lane here, great passing play to open up for their first. More of this, please and thank you.
Absolutely lovely handoff. And just before that play, I was going to say, Jax looked devoid of any sort of constructive aggression, and Gelvi's defense has become so stringent in the backline that they've been able to bat aside any of the wayward attempts at poking and prodding in the backline. That one, though, I'm completely unstoppable. Great 1-2 handoff, and suddenly Jax now again have to turn back towards their own net. But it's a start. You've got 2 minutes left. 3 goals in 2 minutes is certainly not undoable. You certainly don't want to give away any more right now if you're this Jax side. But I mean, the chances, the possibility of taking this series back into your own hands still well and truly alive and well, but not if Stolzy and the rest of this Gelvi side are going to continuously put up a defensive masterclass and even going for a cheeky play there. That was a great attempt. Trying for again, a nice psychological pass off there. Just give it towards the teammate. Gelfi hanging around, and they're happy to buy time as long as they need.
Struggle. Every second counts at this point for Jax. Every opportunity has to be maximized, and every time that Gelvi has possession, it's just another one of them gone. Shot across the bow once more is stopped just about by the first man, Greybeard, with very little boost, which is something that I've found him in almost every time that I've seen the camera pivot to his perspective. He's been struggling so much to retain that, which is the lifeblood for a bruiser such as him. You need a lot of boost to get there for demos, but this was an opportunity wasted once more. The right post is still rattling from that chance from Greybeard. Nachi had one as well, but only can send it to the backboard. The second man misses. Greybeard once more. Empty tank, doing as much as he can to try and keep that offensive push alive, but it will be to no avail. There's a team bump there between 2 players on Gelvi. You thought might open up some opportunity for Jack, some space to utilize. Does for a brief moment, but barely any boost. Complex and GB both at 0 there. as the seconds tick away once more. A 3-goal lead, I think, is just too much. It's insurmountable at this point. And they, as I said, right at the beginning, will be hoping that at least 1 or 2 of those 5 goals they scored in the opener would be able to be transferred between games. But the case is not as such, and the Gelvi will be able to bring this series back to a 2-2. And the second draw on the night for not just for in general, but for Dynasty as well. 2 draws in a row. Are we expecting the third one to be like that? I guess that's for the casters that replace us to decide. But as is the case in the present, UnitOx managed to battle back and get us back to a neutral point. And for a lot of people, they don't like the 4-game series format. They don't like the fact that there can be draws. I think it's fascinating. I think it's so much better when you have this chance for teams to fight back and change things. And it just makes it so much more interesting, in my opinion.
Those people are wrong. I love it right now because it really does add a new level towards what every game means. I mean, if you win a 5-2, or sorry, a 3-2 in a 5-game series, it doesn't feel as good. Like it almost doesn't give credits to how close the series was. You still lost. Whereas now in a deadlock like this, it's great to see. And I mean, it's such an interesting psychological thing where you go up 2 games and then everything falls apart. And I mean, when I say falls apart, those were not close, games 3 and 4. No. And considering game 1 was basically exactly mirrored towards the other side. I mean, 5-2 is a dominant victory for Jax in game number 1. But I mean, you give up the goal advantage throughout the series. Shots were becoming dry and vacant. Saves were forced out far more on the other side. And I mean, finally, it's good to see UnitOx actually putting up a couple of saves themselves after game 1. They didn't get hold of any of those. But, and demos, Greybeard, my friend, what happened? We were so excited to see it. But you know what? I'd rather have seen his play style like we did see tonight, in the dark, just sitting there. Woo! That looked like a tough game, friend.
Oh, man, I'm exhausted. I ran back here as quick as I could. Oh, man, it was, after 2 games, I thought I was going to come back in here a hero. It was looking amazing.
How quickly it crumbles.
Oh, man, but I gotta tell you, I mean, you were mentioning the demos. Domino on UnitOx was an absolute demon. He's and it felt like after game 2, something switched in their heads. They were suddenly moving so much faster and quicker. And well, there we go. As we were saying, a draw is better than a loss, but not as good as a win.
Victor, I want to point out something that's not known by everyone. Greybeard's other name, his previous name before this, was Deaded Horseborn, and Domino was making sure he lived up to that tonight.
Oh, man.
I didn't know that. That's quite an interesting anecdote, and I was going to say a unique perspective that we've got you coming back. It's sort of a semi-interview as to how the match went, but yeah, how quickly your fortunes can shift. And you met your match, it sounds like, against Domino there, but you put up a great fight in the first couple games, and how much it shifted towards the end. It was very entertaining, at least from my perspective, so thank you for that.
Well, I do hope you enjoyed it, and my highlight was my first goal in that first game. When I hit that, I was like, oh man, the casters better be pumping this up good. And honestly, I thought this on-stream competitive Rocket League is easy, but
you got 2?
Yeah, no, and I got humbled. So what are you going to do? Yeah. Well played.
Rather you than me, friend. Rather you than me. I've been there. I've done that. I know the pain. I'm going. Oh, that didn't go as expected. So,
yeah, well played to them. All right, gentlemen. Well, listen. Thanks for casting the first time I've ever been cast, and I'm very glad it was the 2 of you. Thanks for coming to hang out. But now you get to go and do whatever you do after you've done a cast, whether it's scrims or ultrism, your girlfriend, whatever it is. I know you all have commitments, so I will let you go and do that. Vector and ultrism. Yes.
Thanks very much.
Alrighty, so there we go. Now I have to come down off my high and start focusing on the here and now. The past is the past. I'd like a shout out to our sponsors once again, Nixa and Genisus Extreme, for making all of this possible, giving us a prize pool at the end of the season and making sure we have high quality broadcasts And yeah, so once again, shout out to the sponsors. And don't forget, we do have merch. I'm just going to shout that out quickly. We have a Season 3 t-shirt. All the proceeds will go to the league. It'll be funneled right back into RSC. I played RSC Season 3, just saying. And that is available. There is a link available in the Discord and on Twitter if you want to order that. So go and do that. Season 3 merch is here. And now that brings us to, well, the future. But I think if we can, we're pretty much halfway through the night. And 2 series down, 2 to go, and 2 draws so far for Dynasty. Jokers against DSQ Cassia, and Jax versus Unity Gelfi. And someone is yet to explain to me how Gelfi comes from that combination of letters, but so it is. And now 2 elite games are in front of us. Dynasty Queens versus Redirect Swift. And then that'll bring up our 4th match, which is DSQ Ostrom versus Darkness. So I was pleased to see with Dynasty and DSQ tied at the top of the league. It was a good thing that there was it was better than losing. Not as good as winning, but much better than losing. So that race will still be on the go. All right. Well, I think now we're going to be bringing in our other casters in just a moment, as soon as they are mic'd up, camera'd up, and ready. And a shout out to everybody in chat. I see now Popcorn has arrived, and I remember Popcorn from last week. I know it's somebody's girlfriend, but I can't remember whose. But hello Popcorn, and welcome back. A Clever Rabbit, our general manager from Dynasty. How's it? Ender's here. Nachi, our captain. GG's. Oh, it was a tough one. Sora, first time chat from Sora. Sora, as you can tell from his name, 974 out of Reunion. I've run into him a few times in both casual and competitive lobbies, and yeah, very well played, Sora. Was a good game. Stolzy's there as well. So I see the whole of the team rushed into chat to kind of bask in the glory of their last 2 games. Hello, Onimod. And Tubbsy's here. Okay, so that is our quick roundup. Did Popcorn answer the question? Tim Tam, there we go. Tim Tam, very good stuff. No worries, Sora. I will try not to hold it against you for too long. So I guess we're gonna be predicting. There is a prediction up for the next series. Is it gonna be a win? Is it gonna be a loss? Or will it be a draw? So go and predict while it's still up. And then I think we are gonna be good to go. Justice for the dog man. Even okay. All right, good. I think we are finally ready to go. Our casters for the second shift are locked and loaded, ready to go. And for the first time this season, out of RSC EU, we have Big Chebs and, of course, Altruism. Gentlemen.
What's up? Not altruism. It's
I say altruism. Okay, I'm still living my glory days, Muzz, of that opening goal in game 1 of my series. That's where my head is locked. Hello, Muzz.
We thought as much. We thought, Greybeard's now finally playing competitive Rocket League and getting casted to Boots as well. No, don't stress, GB.
And then Chebs, your first time this season, but no stranger, and great to see you again.
Yeah, straight back over. Did my first few EU casts already, and already excited to be back in SSA for this season.
All right, so we've got so we warmed you up in EU, and now you bring your A game to SSA.
Exactly, the real deal over here.
Debs, are you playing in EU?
I am playing in EU, but I'm down at the bottom tier. We're doing quite well there at the moment.
You're a prospect.
Prospect, yeah.
Oh, nice. Okay, nice. And then Muzz, how come we haven't seen you on a stream game yet?
Yo, can I tell you, GB, it was very touch and go. I think it was a game 2, game 3, Dogman disconnected, and then I was panicking. I was like, am I gonna end up here on stream? But he came back fortunately, thank goodness.
What do you mean, thank goodness? You should be looking forward. You should be looking forward to it all.
Yeah, no, 100%. I mean, it was close, but anyway, it's fine. They got the draw. So it's fine.
All right, cool. Let's, all right, gentlemen, Queens versus Swift. I'm going to hand over to you now to bring us into and call this game.
Oh, okay. Nice little throw over here. Big chip, so let's get it. We're looking at elite tier right now, of course, which is the big dogs. Queens taking on Swift, and I think at the moment it seems like Dynasty are having a pretty good Thursday.
Yeah, so far, Dynasty already been on the stream in the game before. 2-2 in that one. But looking into this game, they're looking to go all the way here against Swift.
Yeah, looking to go all the way as well. But I mean, Queens, though, they are under Swift. I think it's about position 4 versus position 6 there as well, at least from the recent results. And so can we see what can redirect Swift with Ethan, Sonic, and Rise taking on the Queens? I think, yeah, it's going to be definitely a close one here, Chebs.
Yeah, 100%. Looking at Queens on the screen at the moment, Terrible, A Clever Rabbit, and Tim Tam ready for this one. I'm not 100% sure which of those two lower players will be playing in this series. But at the moment, I think looking like Sfaulcon will be playing, I assume. Captain himself should be playing here on stream. But together with Terrible and A Clever Rabbit, that's a very, very solid roster.
Oh yeah, Terrible, Tim Tam. I think we scrimmed quickly against them, or at least the prospect team scrimmed against them before that 7 o'clock fixture. These guys, they're hot stuff here, Chebs, definitely. Clever Rabbit, Tim Tam, Falcon, they know what they're doing on the pitch.
Yeah, 100%. But looking over at Swift, they've also got quite a solid roster, Mr. Muzz.
Oh yeah, I want to see, they do have Lolanize there, he's the captain. We're going to see if he does step onto the pitch today. But look at that, Ethan, Sonic, and Rise. Sonic getting those 6 goals at the moment here. Look at that, Ethan, Sonic, and Rise, nice CVMs there as well. High tier stuff, of course, this is elite tier. So redirect Swift, they want to continue getting into that top 4, or at least maybe even cement the top 3 here with a big dub over Queens.
Yeah, 100%. Looking towards Lolanizer and Sonic for those goals. 8 goals for Lolanizer, 6 for Sonic. So they're the 2 goal scorers, and can we see them kind of come through in this series, get some goals? But Ethan, highest rated on the team, no goals. Is he that passive third man, or are we going to see him kind of pop off in this series?
Yeah, maybe he's been feeding Sonic, maybe he's been feeding Lolanizer, just helping them, as you say, be that passive third man and get assists going upfield. Maybe today, though, Ethan says he wants a little bit more of the action, so we're going to see. But yeah, no goals from him thus far. I mean, only game week 2, right? Got a long road ahead of us, Ched. So, I mean, I think Ethan's got plenty of time to score as well.
100%. But 2 very strong teams, as we can see from the stats, from the rosters. Some well-known players here in SSA, so it's going to be a fun one. But I believe you said Swift currently above Dynasty at the moment.
Yeah, no, that is the case at the moment. If you take a look over to the Ignis conference there as well, we do see Swift in that 4th position, Queens in the 6th position as well. Everyone's obviously played just the 1 game at the moment. We do look at those goal differences and if people draw as well, which is important. So yeah, redirect Swift. Want to try get into that top 3 though. Can Dynasty Queens continue an absolute run of this evening that we saw from the 2 previous series?
Yeah, definitely time will tell, but it's almost time to get us here into game number 1. Both teams ready to go in the lobby. And Muzz, who are you kind of rooting for in this series?
I don't know, I'm torn, right? I can't say Queens, I don't want to have the bias, but I want to see, you know, what are we going to see coming up from Ethan, Sonic, and Rise on the Swift side as well. Possibly a draw, though, of course, here we can draw in the RSC, but maybe a victory here by redirect Swift. Let's see, Chebs. Don't make me do it.
Both teams hitting the pitch, and we're straight underway here into game number 1. The Clever Rabbit trying to follow this one up, puts it on target, big whiff already, and first goal goes in just a few seconds. What a start to the game.
Yeah, there we go. Well, the Queens were well warmed up against their prospect side early on, and just Sonic and Lolanizer not able to get across the face of the goal there and make that save, Cheb. So Clever Rabbit, he's the GM. He's the one holding down the fort for Dynasty, and he gets the opener.
But now time for Swift to try and push back down into the middle, but again picked up by a member of Queens. Again, straight back into it. Tim nice little touch to keep the pressure off. Ethan playing it forwards, but nothing too much going for him. Tim little pinch, cross into the middle by Rabbit, but no one on the end, on the backboard to put that one down. Now Ethan up into the air is going to be maybe able to get this over the top, but he isn't, and it ends up in the corner. We're starting to see a little bit more pressure coming through from Swift, but at the moment Queens holding strong.
Yeah, Queens holding on to the very slim 1-goal lead here at the moment. Ethan, just nice punt towards the goal end. Nothing sticking. We saw it doesn't have any goals registered at the moment here by this fixture. And so Ethan's going to try rectify that, at least in this series. Terrible. He's going to go from the right-hand flank as well. Wants to get the dunk onto Ethan. He can't. Lolanize as well. Waiting underfoot there. And Swift, they are not conceding, or at least not conceding too for the moment here, Chebs, but they're definitely trying to keep the Queens out.
Yeah, trying to kind of keep them out of their half, but trying to get something going forward. At the moment, that's not the greatest of touches. Not too much boost in the tank. Terrible trying to bring this one forward, but well cut out by Lolanizer, who's now going to try and take this forward. Good play away from Rabbit. As a bump comes through, he's going to be able to pick it up, put it on target. It's going to hit the bar, and that was the equaliser they were looking for, but fourth man on the pitch, the crossbar keeping that one out, but they're still holding some pressure here. Lolanizer is going to keep this one close. Picked up, but is going to still end up in the box. No one pushing it too quickly. Lolanizer, Terrorbill, 50-50, and it doesn't end up in the net. And that we're seeing Swift starting to push forward, but not able to get kind of that final product hitting the bar is always upsetting. But it shows they're going in the right direction.
Yeah, going in the right direction and now on the back foot, and unfortunately we need to see Redirect Swift be able to put a few more passing plays together. Maybe, oh, lol there. Nice little squeeze forward though, but unfortunately Swift need to find a bit of gumption here to get a shot on the Queens. There it is. Ethan registers his first of the season.
Yeah, first goal of the season for Ethan, and good finish in the end, putting that straight up into the top left-hand corner. Bit lucky from the way it fell to him, but either way they take that any day of the week, tying up the game. But we've still got half to go, so either way this could go at the moment. 50-50 coming through as Lolanizer tries to take this one forward. Rabbit does cut that one out. Terrible on the end of it. That's going to be heading goalwards, and he can't do just enough to keep that one out. Almost keeping that one out. Pushes it further into the top corner, but terrible shot, just a bit too good for Sonic.
Oh yeah, just top bins being scored there by Terrible, and Sonic, as you mentioned, just can't get a hand to that ball as well. So again, Dynasty Queens up by 1, trying to really have a good franchise scoring of this evening as well. What can they do? Of course, still 3 games are going to be ahead of them, and you know, a whole halfway of this one as well. Sonic from the wall here, they need to try get an equalizer if they maybe force OT. Yes, Sonic Lolanizer is going to go out to the corner there. Tim Tam is going to hold down the fort. Oh my goodness, oh, okay. You just when you thought that was going to go in there, Chips kept out.
Yeah, massive whiff, pretty much an open net, but a great recovery to get across and keep that one out of the net. I couldn't see exactly who it was, but Queen's getting away quite nicely there as Tim Tam now trying to bring this one forwards. Sonic plays it away. But is it going to go any further than Sonic? It is. He's going to get a pinch off the top of Terrorbill. So now Lolanizer tries to play it middle. Does manage to get a nice little touch to send it middle. Double commit. Blocked by Ethan. Now Rabbit 1v1 as he pushes this one forward. Lolanizer is able to get back, but the shot isn't good enough as it's cleared away. Terrible now back into the middle. Trying to get a touch. Works as a fake and ends up going all the way as a kind of a big whiff coming through. Not sure if he was completely faked out, Ethan, but the ball ends up running all the way through. Lolanizer not ready for it, and Terrible lands on it to put it away, and they take their 2-goal lead a bit scruffily.
Yeah, unfortunately, right. I think Lolanizer, of course, been in an awkward position. They couldn't really save it, you know, being under the player there as well. And of course, I think we saw Sonic having to come from the back post and not really able to stop Terrible. And Terrible here for Dynasty Queens, though, putting on 2 goals, Chebs, and they want to inch up that leaderboard of the elite tier. Of course, we mentioned that 6th place that Queens are sitting in. Well, this is going to do it now when you got a 2-goal differential, and they're holding on at the moment. We just don't see Redirect Swift, though, really putting too much pressure here onto our side in red.
Yeah, but Terrible trying to look for a 4th maybe as the ball kind of bounces back into the middle. Going to be followed by Ethan, who gets a touch across to the right. Lolonizer up onto the backboard. It's going to drop quite nicely for Sonic, but well read, kept out by Queens. As it's now going to start heading up the other way. Lolonizer, good stalling touch, is able to keep this one away at the moment. Rabbit sending it forward, it's going to come off the corner, awkward to read, and it's missed by Lolonizer, completely open for Rabbit to tuck away his own pass. And again, just small mistakes coming out from Swift that are being capitalized well by Queens.
Yeah, clever Rabbit again, a nice little goal there, unassisted as well. So just Dynasty Queens, they're making things look pretty sharp here in game one of our 4-game series here, Big Chips. So down the flank here, Rabbit again. Maybe he's going to look for another one as well. Can he get a pop over? It's a nice little cheeky pass though. Doesn't go in. Terrible. Oh my goodness. This player is absolutely popping off tonight.
Yeah, great pass from Rabbit into the middle. Terrible using the what I like to call the fatness of the Octane, just staying in the way of that one and pushing it all the way, blocking the clearance, and it ends up working, drops down low and too low for anyone to be able to save it. They take their 4-goal lead now with only 20 seconds to go. We can say that game 1 is done and dusted, but Swift, they need to start looking for this momentum going into game number 2. This is only game 1, we've still got 3 more to go, and it's not all over for them yet.
Yeah, definitely not going to be the case as well. They're almost an open goal face there for Queens, but it's going to go in. Tim Tam, there it is, gets the first, and Dynasty Queens having an absolute blast here of game number 1. 6 goals to 1. It's going to be 3 seconds remain. Big Chebs definitely done and dusted here for game 1, and yeah. Redirect Swift though. Got to sweep this one well under the rug, regain, and look towards game 2.
100%. It's all about like mentals going into the next game. They've got to just kind of keep their head up, think that game was a bit of a fluke. We need to work on our kind of the mistakes we've been making, and just kind of pick up the slack, find those gaps, and push back against Queen's pretty aggressive playstyle.
Yeah, definitely. I think also terrible the one kind of leading from the front there. Would you say, Big Chebs? And I don't know if it comes down to the bumps or demos, you know, how do we get rid of that kind of attack and threat per se?
Yeah, 100%. Terrabil looking like very strong, pushing forward, and he's just supported by Rabbit. Rabbit actually taking the MVP in that first game. Almost all coming from those assists. The assisted, I'm pretty sure, all of Terrabil's goals. So it kind of proves that you can't do it all on your own. There's always going to be that one person that kind of helps you push in series like this. And in that game, Rabbit was really good to be able to support Terrabil going forward, and both players really bouncing off each other and working really well.
Yeah, and of course Ethan, right? He registers his first goal of the season in a losing game. Bittersweet feeling, it seems to be the case, but we can head toward game number 2. Yeah, it's the elite tier, and Swift taking on Queens though. Nice big win there, Big Chebs, 6-1. That's those goal differences, right? Because those are the things that are going to accumulate later on in the season. You want to make sure if you're going to pound down on your opponents, this is the scoreline you got to do it with.
Oh, 100%. Trying to get those big wins in games, early games like this especially. If you can get that goal difference up early, you don't have to worry as much going into the later ends of the season. You're just trying to get those games over the line. It doesn't matter too much about the score. Going into these games is the ones that matter, and that's a big whiff coming out, and the ball's going to fall again to Terrabil, taking on game number 2 like he takes game number 1, and putting that one away to give Queens the lead yet again. And again, just coming from a tiny mistake coming through from Swift, and ends up working out perfectly. But Terrabil is finding, he's picking out those mistakes and making them work. But this might be Swift's opportunity to come forwards, and no, Post denies them yet again. The woodwork keeping them out. Again, the crossbar. Now it's going to be a little bit awkward as they've overcommitted ever so slightly. Ball's going to end up quite high as Lolonizer trying to take this one forwards off the wall. Is going to bounce middle. Good touch by Lolonizer, but again, no one from Swift pushing up to help him out with that situation. But Ethan now off the side wall is going to play that one towards net, but not close enough. Tim Tam pushing forward for this second goal for Queens. The ball's going to head middle. Terrabil's going to go up. He's going to send it goalwards. Lolonizer not quick, and Terrabil gets his second.
Terrible is just having an absolute stellar game here of the series, of the game here. It seems big chips as well. Gets past Loldenizer. He's waiting on the near post as well, not able to kind of get the pre-jump bump and stop Terrible. And Terrible, yeah, having a crack of a time. He has a Queens 2-0 against Redirect Swift at the moment. Here. Ethan with the kick of Rabbit though, punts it forward. Not going to find a man though, but you know when you got that 2-goal lead in cushion though, Queens not necessarily going to rest on their laurels, but the hat trick, there it is, coming out from Terrible. Well, we talk about that cushion and that safety net that Dynasty Queens have, your big chebs, and they just seem to be extending that lead.
Yeah, just a minute 10 into the game and a hat-trick on the board for Terrible. It shows you how strong he is in this series. But Swift have got to find a way to shut him out if they want to get anything out of this one. As we see Wabbit trying to bring this one forwards, not able to get on the end of it. Ball's going to be sent forward. Sonic towards net. Ethan not able to get a touch on it and only as close as the post. Now Sonic again playing this one back across into the middle, double commit, but Terrible is able to keep that one out into the corner. Ethan now trying to take this one forward. Doesn't really have the angle on it, leaves it, but again, no one from Swift able to push too far forward onto it. We're seeing at the moment, we're seeing too much of the second man not wanting to commit. They have to push that bit of risk in this series because they're 3 goals down. They only have 3 minutes left to score, and with only 3 minutes and 3 goals, they've got to find some risk or they're not going to score a single goal. So yeah, kind of pushing that second man, even sometimes pushing that third man up is going to be necessary in this series. And at the moment, we're not really seeing even the second man push up. But this is a bit of an opportunity as the ball's going to fall to Ethan. Ethan pops it over Terrible. 50 in the corner. Sonic tries to play it forwards, but again, no one there. They're going for boost, and these are the mistakes we're seeing coming out from Swift.
Yeah, and as you mentioned, Swift, you can be a little bit more risky. You can make sure that second man comes up, just put a bit more pressure onto the back line of Queens, but just not coming out for redirect Swift there. Just they're poking and prodding, right? We see the shot coming out from Sonic there as well, not really landing where it needs to be. Loldenizer is going to take a punt as well. It's going to go wide Tim Tam as well, making a decent save coming off that back wall. And so just now and again, flashes in the pan here for Swift though, but nothing sticking at the moment. Rabbit and Terrible, they're both able to comfortably get that ball out. Terrible is going to try and make 4. He's going for the ball though. Tim Tam is going to be a pixel shy though, so that goes wide. He doesn't need Ethan on the near post though, just to push it out. Does Sonic have an open head at the back? There it is, finally, and a goal going to Swift.
Yeah, well played from Sonic in the end. Great touch over the top by Ethan, catching Rabbit out as he's pushed that a little bit too far forward with no boost. And that's what we need to see more of from Swift. That little bit of extra aggression, extra just kind of booming over the top. You're going to see Queens get a little bit complacent as we go on in this series. As whenever you're winning games by this much, you start to get a little bit excited, a little bit thinking you're better than they are. So they're trying to push this a little bit further, trying to get those extra goals, and that's where Swift can punish them. We see it just now with that goal, and they're hoping for Swift that they'll see a bit more of it as the game goes on. Sonic's going to pick this one up, popping it over the top, 50 between a Rabbit. As the ball is going to end up back in Swift's corner, up onto the backboard. Rabbit's going to try and get on the end of it. Loldenizer plays that one forward, double commit again, but Sonic might be able to take this one forward again. All 3 players from Swift in that corner, as we now see Queens trying to get a counter-attack going. Rabbit off the backboard is going to get a bit of a double touch. Ball's going to fall to Terrible, but a great save by Sonic keeps that one out. And still this slither of hope for Swift.
I mean, a minute remaining, your big chips, that sliver of hope's going to have to come in quick and fast if you are redirect Swift, though, because Queens are keeping you here at bay, and already we see Rabbit running that ball forward. He's going to have Terrible here in that second man position. Nice little pass back to Tim Tam. Just hold on to the position, slow down the play. You don't need to rush things forward at the moment when you have such a comfortable 2-goal lead. They're Terrible again from the right-hand flank. Good bump by Sonic though, but Rabbit's going to take the shot though. Almost top bins, doesn't go over. It needs to sneak over. Oh, it's kept out still. What's going on here? Rabbit's need to score. Oh my goodness, what is going on there? Rabbit, so many opportunities and nothing sticking.
Just about squeezed out in the end. Ball sat on the line for what felt like hours, but in the end falls out. And are they finally going to get it? No, it hits the crossbar. Terrible trying to get it back in there again. Rabbit, good touch. It's going to fall onto Terrible. But no progressive touch happening as Loldenizer is going to try and bring this one down the other end. All 3 players are going to push for this one. The ball ends up over the top of Ethan, over the top of Sonic, and Queens might be able to get a quick goal. No, it's going to hit the floor. But still, game number 2 going to Queens. And again, a pretty solid showing, but we are starting to see Swift kind of wiggle their way back into this one.
Oh, I mean, yeah, right. They're wiggling and squirming as if they're on the end of a fishing hook, yeah, big chibs. And so 3-1, Dynasty Queen still looking good throughout the series here as well. A little bit more venom and fire coming out, of course, from Swift. We see Sonic, though, scoring that goal this time instead of Ethan. They need to try lead from the get-go. They need to try score early and foster big chibs. If they can maybe hold a lead instead of trying to chase one, things can look better for Swift.
Yeah, 100% Muzz. TerraBill still looking as strong as ever, but Swift starting to kind of push back in this series, getting that goal and able to kind of hold any goals going in after that hat-trick that we saw come through from TerraBill in just over a minute. For the rest of the game, they didn't concede. So surely that's an improvement on the game before, where we saw, I think it was 6-7 goals going. So coming into that game, that's already an improvement. Now the improvement they need to make is getting that early goal, picking up a few extra goals going forwards. And the defense looked good for the last 4 minutes of the game, apart from the scary goal line bouncing. That was the only scary bit of defending there for Swift. But going into game number 3, if they're able to get that bit more aggressive, get those final touches in the box and get something in the back of their net, they'll be much better in this series. But the defense is looking stronger already. Lolonizer keeping that one away from net. Ball's going to go up high, even going for a bump, and the ball's going to end up with Sonic. Not the greatest of touches, and Lolonizer pushing maybe a little bit too far forward, but Ethan with a great save, pinching that one off the crossbar. As TerraBill is going to try and bring this one back into the middle. Lolonizer does manage to get a touch on it, and Queen's already trying to test this defense that I've been talking about, that Swift have seemingly kind of pulled together in game number 2, and they're holding strong so far.
Holding strong so far. First minute elapsing your big chips. Doesn't seem like we're going to see Queen score just yet. And so Swift, can they keep them at bay? Nice little cutouts. They want to get active defense going here if you are redirect Swift as well. Shot toward goal there. Ethan as well. Lolan is going to take a crack on it. He's going to send it quite wide as well. Maybe a pass out to Ethan. Doesn't find the top bins though. And so Swift, at least with the early opportunities here in game 3, maybe force the draw, maybe get the points on both sides here of the fixture. That would be helpful here for redirect as well. Again, shot there by Ethan. Kept the bay, and just that pesky woodwork from game number 1 seems to be keeping them out.
Yeah, but now here come Queens as a team pinch, I believe, comes through. So it's going to head straight back up the other side as Lolonizer is going to try and get this one middle. Does manage to get it middle. Sfaulcon up for it, but not able to get too much on it. It's going to head all the way down. Ball's going to fall again to TerraBill as that backboard hasn't been defended perfectly. And they get their first goal, and really hoping that Swift could come out into this one with a bit more aggression, get that first goal. But TerraBill is inevitable, and he scores goal number 1 here in game number 3.
Yeah, and we find kind of Sonic struggling to get up early enough to set the goal, and of course Lolonizer coming off the back wall or the back post, and just not in time. And Tim Tam finds the second, and the floodgates they shouldn't be open too soon, yeah, big chips. But maybe Dynasty Queens, they're ready just to let the rivers flow, it seems.
Yeah, 100%. Good shot from Tim Tam. Again, TerraBill setting that one up, and this time we're seeing a slightly different combination. In those first 2 games, we're seeing lots of Rabbit and TerraBill, but Tim Tam getting involved in this one. But now Swift trying to get back into this one. Good touch by Lolonizer to send that one back goalwards. Tim Tam very awkward. TerraBill is able to get a tiny touch on it. Sonic's going to follow this one up. Keep it on the backboard, going for the double. Ball's going to fall. Lolonizer gets bumped. It might be going all the way. No, TerraBill keeping that one out, and Swift so close yet so far from getting that first goal here in game number 3.
Just never seems to go right for them here, does it? Hey, just the luck and the RNG just is not in redirect Swift's hands at the moment. Yeah, just the goal line saves coming out from Queen as well. Nice little poke down, doesn't get the shot there as well. Sonic has to make the save, so is Lolonizer as well. So massive defense here coming out from Swift. They just put in bodies on the line here to keep out Queens though, but you need to try turn that defense into offense, get a good counter attack here. But again, position have been held by TerraBill as well. Sonic tried to go for the cutout as well. Lolonizer wants to run it down that left hand flank though. Can he do anything with it though? We see Sfaulcon though, as that third man position, just stopping them here, holding it from the corner. Can we see Swift do something with it as well? Passing play and the acute angle coming out though. Kept out still. Ethan's up. He's going to try running. He's holding on to the ball. It's good. Oh my goodness. But Sonic though just cannot get it to stick.
That was a good block in the end from Queens to keep that one heading up higher rather than towards their net. Sonic going to play this one forward. Good touch by Ethan, but it's not going to fall TerraBuild today, as he does manage to get that touch. Now Tim trying to come forward. No boost in the tank to work with, so can't get anything going too quickly. Sfaulcon trying to follow this one up, but isn't able to get on the end of it. Lolonizer now down along the wall. Again, no boost to work with. Tries to get it over the top. The ball's going to head all the way over the top to the other corner. As this one's going to get picked up, as Ethan trying to get something going. And Swift, they're finally starting to get some offense going, but that kind of final product isn't really popping up here.
And not at the moment. Oh, close there. Sonic, another jab there coming out from the player. And I think 3 shots they registered for Sonic as well. So they're definitely poking and prodding here at the defense of Queens though, but just nothing landing at the moment. There's Sonic going to pop it up. Lolonizer has to try get it past Sfaulcon, but Sfaulcon with that good little kind of offensive pressure being applied as well. Sfaulcon is still trying to bash and beat up and bully these Swift players there. Tim's going to dispossess them. He's going to run it up the field though. Clock's ticking down. Swift need to be able to score something, but just kept out of bait. No holding of the possession as well. Lolonizer has to make that save, or it could have been a third for the Queens.
Yeah, and now we see Ethan trying to bring this one forward, isn't able to get on the end of it. That one might be going all the way, but Lolonizer, a great save to keep that one out. Tim trying to bring this one forward. Ball heads high with just 20 seconds on the clock. It's really looking a bit sad now for Swift in game number 3, but we are slowly seeing improvements in the scoreline. So hopefully game number 4 will be there. One great pinch from TerraBuild is going to be heading all the way. It is stolen in the end by the captain to put that one in the back of the net. Great ground pinch by TerraBuild to kind of play that one underneath, and slightly unlucky on the side of Swift. Ends up bouncing off the bottom of one of their cars and falls perfectly for TerraBuild and Sfaulcon to force that one into the net for number 3.
Just a nasty pinch there coming out from TerraBuild, but he gets poached by Sfaulcon though. It's okay, you know, when you are going to win 3-0 here, I don't think Queens are too stressed right now. At the moment, one last chance there for Swift though. Ball going to go down, it's out, it's done, and 3-0 at the moment here. Dynasty Queens, they're having a darn good series, Big Chips.
Yeah, 100%. We see Tim take his first MVP of the series in game number 3. A really solid showing in that series, but Redirect starting, they really are starting to get something going, but a mixture of bad luck and Queen's solid defense is really keeping them out of their net.
Yeah, I mean, it's just there's very few kind of opportunities that are going the way of Redirect Swift, right? And just whether it's kind of wide or back post of the woodwork there, or just, you know, a pixel left and right, your Big Chips, nothing really landing and sticking here for the Swift lads. And you know, it seems like Queens are really good on that counter attack here as well. Whether it's going to be Tim or TerraBuild running it up the field, they just seem to make it work. Once they get on that counter attack, you cannot stop them.
Yeah, 100%. They're looking so strong whenever they go anywhere near Swift's net. And Swift, they're not doing terribly defensive. They're making saves they need to make. We saw Lolonizer make a great save after a pinch ended up heading all the way back towards their own net. They've been making some good saves. It's just the constant pressure coming through from Queens and the kind of the small bits of magic that TerraBuild seems to be able to just pull out at any given moment that are kind of causing that Swift defense to fall apart sometimes. And that's the reason those goals are going in. And sometimes you can't do anything about those goals. Those goals will go in either way. But Swift need to find that way to kind of score their own goals. That's their only problem. They can't score. And sometimes those goals going in don't matter too much as long as you can score one back. And at the moment, Swift don't look like they can do that.
Well, you have to be able to not just save goals, but score them as well if you want to win the games. And Lolonizer talking about scoring, Big Chips, finally. Swift finding the back of the net there. Lolly getting the first one.
Great finish from Lolonizer. I'm so happy that goal's gone in. First goal on the board for Swift here in game number 4. And for the first time this series, they take the lead. And it's just time for Swift to kind of keep this one going to get something out of this series. There's almost a great shot comes in from Sonic, but only as close as the post and then cleared away by Terrible as the ball's going to head straight back towards their net. Terrible picks this one up. Doesn't have too much boost to work with, but Lolonaiza doesn't know that, but doesn't manage to make the save. Timtam back towards net, and good save from Sonic. Is going to be followed up by himself as the ball comes forwards. Sfaulcon plays this one over into the corner. As Ethan, again, the pressure really is starting to build from Swift, and Queen's looking a little bit dodgy about it as Sonic puts a nice shot on target. But a good save in the end. Ball's going to fall down into the middle. Terrible, good touch to keep that one in the corner. Ball's going to head back across. Shot from Lolonaiza. It only manages to hit the post. And finally, Queens can release that pressure, maybe with a bit of a counter-attack, as Timtam's going to follow this one up onto the backboard. Ball's going to fall down, but double commit might work in their favour. As ball's going to head across middle from Sonic, followed up by Lolonaiza, that doesn't manage to make it in. And we're seeing a bit more of counter-attacking play coming in from both teams, but I think the main thing for Swift is they're currently on top. They don't need to make those risks that Queens do now.
Yeah, no risk need to come much here from Swift. Maybe one more goal, though, would be great just to extend that lead, but at least a little bit more venom here coming out from Swift as well. We see Lolonaiza having already taken that second shot, at least coming out there. Lolonaiza as well, looking for the dunk there as well. Not going to find the connection, but that's fine because Ethan here from the corner may be able to find a second man in. Sonic has to come in there as well, but Falcon will be able to deal with that one as well. And now, how do we see Queens, right, try to turn this defense into offense as well? They want to get onto that backboard. We've seen Terrible be able to be so dangerous and lethal up front. We saw the hat-trick coming out in the previous games here, but when they're trailing Big Chips, maybe there's a whole different story.
Yeah, 100%. Queens are trying to get something going, but they're being held by Swift now. It's a completely different game to what we've seen in the first three, as Ethan's going to pick this one up and force it away. We're seeing less. There's still no real mistakes coming out from Queens. They're just not able to kind of get those shots towards the net as we saw during those first three games. And I think that's all down to Swift's positioning. They're looking very strong positionally, able to kind of hold up the back line a little bit longer. And that third man's not really overcommitting too much, which is good. But again, the slight bad luck in Swift's favour comes out yet again. And good touch from Sfaulcon to keep that one in that corner. And Sonic and Ethan, I can't even tell whether that was a fake from Terrible, but it worked either way. Both players from Swift pretty much giving him an open net as he tucks it away to tie up the game.
Yeah, everyone's trying to, commit there and get on that D, and Ethan and Lolonaiza or Sonic not able to get that save as well there. So fine, equalizer in game 4, being pulled off there by Dynasty Queens. And, we were waiting for a long, young minute there. Were Queens going to be able to get it? And they were. We've seen what they're able to do in the previous 3 games. We see how dangerous they are up front. Now, the equalizer here, we haven't had OT just yet in the series, so maybe, just maybe here, we go to that elusive overtime here, but Falcon not getting rid of Ethan. Ethan punts it forward, though. Timtam has to block it on his own corner there as well. Falcon's up, so is Timtam. They're going to run it all the way downfield. How can they mount a counter-attack here now when Lolonaiza sends it all the way downfield? Does he have it in him, though? It gets kept out. Nice little cutouts here coming out from Queens. They want to stop any kind of forward momentum here being built by Swift, though, as well. Sonic wants to take another stab at it. Ethan, though, has to run it back. Need to get the defensive rotations going here from Swift, though, as well. It's going to... Oh, there it is. Sonic, though, back in the box, makes a very important save.
Yeah, great save from Sonic, and now two defenders from Queens over committing. The ball's going to head straight back towards net, and once again saved out by the Swift side. Good save from Ethan. Lolonaiza sending this one forward, no boost to work with, but Timtam in a bit of an awkward situation. Ball's going to head netwards from Sonic, but he's not able to get the double on his original touch. The ball's now going to head straight back towards Swift's side. Good touch from Sfaulcon to play this one downfield. Demo onto Lolonaiza as the ball's going to head straight back towards midfield. Sonic, good touch away from the defensive Queens. The ball's going to head again back into that midfield, and we saw a lot of end-to-end at the start of this game as Lolonaiza's finally going to put a shot on target. Great pass middle as the ball falls perfectly to Lolonaiza to get that nice little swooping touch over the top of Terrible, and a difficult save to make from that position. Means the ball's going to hit the back of the net and Swift take the lead.
Yeah, nothing better when you see just nice little pinch pass there from Ethan, finding the man in the middle, and Lolonaiza, a good read, gets that goal, gets a second here for Swift, just when it matters the most. 26 on the clock here of regulation. Swift, maybe one more goal just to end off the night on high spirits. But Terrible wants to try to find a man in the middle. He's not going to be able to. Now Ethan puts it all the way out. Doesn't beat out Tim Tam. The Loldenizer wants to be able to hold this ball. Can they run it over the halfway line? They're able to do so. Ethan, again, maybe looking for a ground pinch, but up to Terrible. Can they get the second touch? They won't be able to. Lolly, can they be able to work it off that backboard? Swift at least doing much better off of that back ball. But there it is. Ball goes down, and Swift finally picking up a dub.
Yeah, from a Swift point of view, after those first 3 games, there's nothing. It looked, especially from the first game, from the first 2 games, it looked like Queens had it all the way, and that getting 1 game out of that, I'm sure Swift will be happy. Obviously upset that they didn't win the series, but getting something out of the series in the end is always a bit nicer after quite a heavy thumping at the start of the series.
Oh yeah, I mean, they definitely had that big thumping, as you mentioned. Of course, Terrible. They're probably going to be the MVP of our series here. Big Chaps did have a hat-trick in one of those games as well. So just Dynasty Queens, they couldn't let down their prospect and rival tier buddies. And so they take the series here 3-1, going to move up on that leaderboard as well, Big Chaps. And that's important, right? Because you want to kind of go from mid of the pack to, you know, inching towards that top 3.
Yeah, 100%. Especially early in the season, you want to show that you have the capability to kind of push forward within your division. Getting the early footing and saying we're one of the best teams, it'll make people want to scrim you. It'll make people want to play more games against you. It'll make people fear you, and that's what you want within RSC. You want to be that aggressive, known good team, as it puts you in good standings for playoffs. It makes people worried to play you in playoffs, and perfect start from Queens.
Do we have the big GB here joining us? I think he's pulled in as well.
GB. Queens, you were so close. You were flying the flag high for us, and then it all... all right, well, very, very well played to the elite. 3-1 is a proper result, the best result we've had on stream tonight. And so Muzz and a redirect, getting out of there with at least a shred of their dignity intact.
Yeah, oh my goodness, it did start a bit shaky for them as well. They couldn't seem to find the back of the net. It always just went straight to post and woodwork, GB. And so, yeah, but eventually, yeah, we did see the Loldenizer goal, so on Ethan, first goal of the season. So eventually seems like they got warmed up and things seemed to connect, but maybe a little bit too late though.
Debs, what franchise do you play for in EU?
Play for my own franchise, Panthera Esports.
Oh, okay. So yeah.
At the SSA champion in my heart from last season.
Absolutely. Remember you guys fondly from last season. Okay, I just wasn't sure if it was a local franchise as well. Okay, I wanted to have a quick look at the standings that we looked at the beginning of the night, and keep in mind that this doesn't include any games, any results from this week of league play. So any games that have been played since Sunday night aren't reflected here. And there you can see the dead heat with DSQ and Dynasty. And DSQ, I believe DSQ's coming up in the last series of today. They had the draw earlier on, so I just realized, because I said I'm going to be rooting for it at least a draw there, and I just wonder if I'm allowing my bias to come through a little hot and heavy on the stream. I should be Switzerland here, but there we go. So those are the standings. That's what they're fighting for. Our last series is going to be Shadow, who are third, DSQ, who are first. So it's very meaningful already. Already in week 2, we're starting to, the first week is like, it's week 1, but now we're already seeing meaningful games being played where the results matter.
Yeah, of course. And, Dynasty aren't really looking to get a Shadow Darkness win here either, because they might drop down a third and then Darkness, or at least Shadow, go up to second place as well. So as you mentioned, maybe a draw being best case scenario here for this last fixture of the evening. But yeah, things looking dicey, and it's game week 2. Series 4, yeah, well, dicey nonetheless, right, Chebs?
All right. Well, gentlemen, I'm going to hand over to you to talk about the game, to talk us through the game, to call the game as it happens, our final series of the night. And it is DSQ and Shadow. Over to you, gents.
Right, so Chebs, as we were saying there, right, we've got Ostrom taking on Darkness now, and obviously, draw maybe being the best case scenario here, but Shadow close on the heels there of Dynasty, at least on the total leaderboard.
Yeah, both teams excited for this one, staying in Elite, I believe, for this one. It's going to be a fun one nonetheless, and both teams kind of ready to go, I believe, already. And Muzz, have you got any predictions going into this one? Is there any roster names that stand out to you on these two teams?
I see Ostrom, right, sitting nice and cozy there in second position as well. Then we do see Flosee on the roster. And so I think DSQ Ostrom definitely looking down to take on Darkness here. And so, yeah, a small little bet towards DSQ Ostrom here and back in Flosee.
Yeah, lots of goals on this roster already. 31 goals for Flosee within RSC. So maybe some big goals going in their first game, in their first games of week 1. So definitely looking like a strong roster if they're able to put away some goals like this.
Yeah, of course, on the Darkness side, they're Varate, Deadly Dom, Lonely J there as well. Pretty decent roster as well. We're not having kind of the best time here in Elite at the moment. But, 2 dying goals between their Dom and Varate as well. So 18 between them. So Shadow Esports, they definitely know what they can do in terms of offense. But Chebs, I don't know if you've got yourself a prediction. Is the leaderboard kind of too easy of a gamble to take?
Well, I know very well, there's 2 players one from each of these teams that have played over in EU against myself. So I know 2 of them quite well. We've got Flosee on one side and we've got Deadly Dom on the other. I believe a European off the top of my head. So I believe a slight ping issue going into this one. But Flosee is an incredibly strong mechanical player and definitely going to be someone to look forward to in this series. So I'm going to have to go with DSQ with this one, just on previous knowledge of players. But you never know. The Darkness, the Deadly Dom's a very strong, I believe, quite defensive midfieldish player. So if he's able to play well in this game, can hold Flosee with teammates around him, could be anyone's game.
Yeah, can be anyone's game. Yeah, well, last series of the evening here, DSQ Ostrom taking on Shadow Darkness. Get your votes in chat. Scream for your teams. If you're a DSQ stan, shout loud. If you're a Shadow stan, shout loud for them as well. My name's Muzz with Big Chebs here, taking on the last series of the evening.
Getting us underway quickly as the ball is going to head straight back into the middle. Good touch by Freezy, is back in across the pitch. Ball's going to head down. Deadly Dom, good bang off the wall, is going to head middle as Flosee gets a touch to block that one away, and we're seeing a bit of speed coming through from both teams already. The ball's going to head up the wall. Good touch across to the middle as we're going to keep that one in the corner. Ball's going to head down into the midfield as not the greatest of touches is going to be blocked out. As the ball head backs across towards net. Deadly Dom up is going to get a flip reset off it. Good touch down into the middle, but no one there for Darkness to put it away.
Yeah, still 0-0 on our scoreboard down at the moment. Again, we see some damage coming up from Varate. He looks for the action as well. Can't get in, but Legal. Oh, there it is. The opener goes towards the Darkness.
Yeah, good finish from Legal in the end. Good touch over the top, and Legal is going to just be able to tap that one away. Flosee not able to get the touch I think he wanted, and the ball ends up pretty much open as it's tucked away. Darkness take the lead here in game number 1. As Legal again straight away pushing for this second goal. Ball's going to be punched down into the box, but a good touch to keep that one in the corner. Deadly Dom going to try and follow this one, not able to get any meaningful touch as Legal picks this one up. He's going to try and pop it over one, gets the pinch 50 in the end, and the ball is going to be a little bit less dangerous. Boyd playing it across into the middle, but not able again to get that final touch they wanted. And after that big mistake at the start, we're seeing both teams kind of tucking together, a bit better positioning as this game goes on.
Yeah, and Deadly Dom taking the shot there for Darkness as well, got kept out, and so Shadow Darkness trying to get a little bit more on the board there. Legal almost popping in Varet. Also trying to take a stab at it, but getting kept out here at Chebs. And so Shadow Darkness, they want to try extend this lead as well. Ostrom, again, of course, doing well in the division at the moment though, but just down here in game one as well. What can we see here coming up from Flosee? Gonna bring it around the bend as well. Can they sing it? They can't as well. Goes to that pesky crossbar though. Frizzy as well, trying to take a stab though, kept out of bait and already Shadow to clear it.
Ball's gonna head goalwards from Deadly Dom. The demo coming through just to make it a little bit more fancy, and works out perfectly in Darkness's favour, and the odds against them, but in the end doesn't mean anything here in RSC. Anything can happen as the second goal goes in for Darkness, and perfect start really for them. The ball's going to head straight towards their net though, as it is saved perfectly away. Ball's going to head back into the middle, and Legal's going to pick that one up, send it goalwards. Good shadow from Flosee to keep that one back into the corner. Ball's going to be sent forwards as 50 comes forward. Flosee trying to get on the end of this one, no boost really to work with, and ends up just 50ing Legal on the wall. Ball is going to be heading slightly dangerous now as the ball heads into the middle. No one really able to get on the end of it. Legal also going for a bump, and ball ends up coming back out, and that's a great touch from Vared, but not able to get anything going forwards.
Yeah, no one really kind of from the Darkness wanted to pounce onto that shot as well, trying to extend the lead. Didn't seem to happen, but Legal, he's going to bring it round. Can Deadly Dom bring it up? He's not going to be able to Flosee though with the cutout as well though, but Vared as well stopping it there, and everyone fighting here on the halfway line. Frizzy, can he get something onto it though, but Legal's going to be able to keep it up. Nice little punt downfield though, picked up by Rex. Vared stopping it there as well. Darkness wanted to extend this lead. It's a nice hanging ball though, kept up by Vared, Flosee, my bad, and Ostrom not really sending too many balls and bodies forward here, Big Chebs.
No, not at the moment. Darkness is doing really good at defending while attacking. Just keeping them away from their net, never overcommitting that third man, able to kind of keep them from pushing too close to their net, and that means they can keep attacking. So we see Vared bring this one forwards, might have the touch, does manage to get the touch, open net, puts in goal number 3, and that's so perfectly worked from Vared.
Yeah, perfectly. Nice little space at the end, though. It doesn't get a full pinch, but it's fine. Open space there. And Shadow Darkness making it 3 to the good here. Big.
Yes, we see.
It off and you can look to the next 3 to bring it back.
Yeah, slight lag issues cause a bit of chaos as Legal puts in goal number 4 to cause even more chaos. Works out perfectly. Deadly Dom isn't able to do anything in that corner, but ends up working out perfectly as the ball falls down into the middle. No assist in the end, and Legal puts that one away to put in number 4. 1 minute 20 on the clock. Not too much time for Ostrom to work with to get back into game number 1, but definitely time to get some momentum for game number 2, do what they can do. We know they have the players to do so, so trying to get back into this series is definitely what they need to do. Deadly Dom playing this one forward, well cut out by Flosee. Isn't going to be able to follow it up as Vared plays this one across. Good 50 from Deadly Dom as the ball is going to head slowly back towards the middle. Big boom from Flosee, but again, that third man is always there for Darkness, able to cut that one out.
Able to cut that out. 45 on the clock. They're running it down in Shadow Darkness. They want to try to close the game number 1 here. Goal differential, of course, counting here. So they're trying to put a ton on the scoreboard here at the moment. And Frizzy trying to get a little bit of that action as well. Can Ostrom at least maybe get one consolation goal here? Legal, he's going to run it on the side. The double commit there coming out from Ostrom as well, though. Legal. Sorry, I think that's Flosee taking a shot there, but again onto that back forward. So nothing here happening for DSQ. Ostrom as well. He's not able to break past this defense here of Darkness. Clock slowly ticking down here at Chebs, and no one able to really poke and prod nothing into the back of that net.
No, but this is better from Ostrom. They're starting to hold that pressure onto Darkness rather than just kind of letting Darkness come to them, which is a lot more what we want to see, and they might finally get something to kind of take into game number 2, getting that goal and hopefully giving them that little bit of momentum. Really good shot from Flosee, catching Deadly Dom a little bit too high, plays it over the top, and when he has no boost, he can't manage to get up to that one. Ball goes all the way, and that one goal, only a consolation, but hopefully will give them some momentum into game number 2.
Yeah, and you already mentioned Flosee there in the pre-game as well. Just the man to look out for as well. Does find at least the one consolation goal here for DSQ Ostrom. But there it is, Shadow Esports taking game 1. We've got 3 more mandatory compulsory games ahead of you, right? We do play all 4 of these games, your big chips. 4-1 Shadow Darkness. They really want to take down Ostrom in this one.
Yeah, looking really strong in doing so as well, via taking the MVP in that game, number 1. 2 assists, 1 goal, and 2 shots. So 50% conversion rate for himself, and the 2 assists really helping him out with his points, and all 3 players really looking very strong. The main thing that's working for them is their rotations. They're able to keep that positioning so perfect, and that's why Ostrom aren't able to get any quick goals, because they're being held so perfectly by the Darkness's positioning and defense rotation. That's what's working well, and Ostrom need to find a way to kind of push through that, find a way to break it up, whether that be demos or big solo plays. That's the kind of 2 ways you can kind of push through that really solid defense rotation. Hopefully they've got to try and find some way around that.
Yeah, and I think we saw a couple chances being taken. There was a Frizzy had a shot there, Flosee had a shot there, finally does get the dunk as well from the halfway, at least now towards the end as well. So yeah, Ostrom, few chances here and there coming out, Chebs, but nothing really landing for them at the moment. Check game 2, Darkness. They want to extend that lead, they want to extend the series lead here. Can they take on Ostrom once again? And Ostrom, of course, trying to find that first victory.
Yeah, as Viad trying to keep game number 1's momentum going forwards. Ball's going to go underneath. No boost to work with. Frizzy flipping the wrong way, but bailed out by Flosee. He's going to pinch that one all the way back down the other side of the pitch as Deadly Dom trying to bring this one forwards. Manages to get a 50 as the ball is going to end up back in the corner. Whether it's a pass, it works out perfectly as Deadly Dom's going to try and bring this one forwards. Flosee, nice little pop to keep Legal from pushing onto that one. Is going to send it back towards the middle, tried to be blocked out by Frizzy, but not able to get on the end of it. Ball's going to end up back in their own corner as Viad trying to take this one forward. Great pinch to send it down pitch as Frizzy not the greatest of touches. Ball's going to end up in the middle. Deadly Dom back onto the backboard. It's going to be followed by Flosee, who's going to be able to get a touch into that corner and relieve that pressure. And the Darkness really trying to kind of keep the aggression going into game number 2, but this time Ostrom a little bit more aware of what's going on and able to keep the ball out of their net.
Yeah, and Varite and Legal, they're trying to get the early goal here in game number 1 as well, getting kept out. I think we do see Frizzy on at least that left-hand corner keeping them at bay. They really find Legal, oh, Demo coming out there as well, so Rix going up as well. Can we get Flosee with the dunk? But we already have Varite here waiting on that back wall, just in anticipation though for the Flosee dunk. So kept out there. Ostrom at least taking a few opportunities, but taking them nonetheless. Ball going upfield. Yeah, Frizzy wants to get in on that action of Flosee, but already we see Deadly Dom and Varite, just that double committing defense there, already on the halfway line, just keeping Ostrom out, not even able to pass that halfway line. A ball coming down here. Ostrom. Frizzy waiting for the touch though. Rix is going to go all the way upfield as well. Who's going to block it out there? Deadly Dom though, with the save and the proactiveness in that defensive third. Nice little pop forward to Legal, back to Legal from Deadly Dom as well. Demo as well coming out there. Nice little block in the players and defenders though. Strategy from Darkness though, but a back and forth action here, Chebs, and no one looking at capitalize just yet.
Yeah, Frizzy sending this one long. Is going to be able to be pushed away by Bared as the ball heads straight back towards net, and Ostrom finally getting their goal here in game number 2, and a really well worked goal. Deadly Dom a little bit too far forward, sitting on that front post, means he's not covering as much of the goal as he needs to, meaning that they can play the ball straight over the top and get that goal. Finally, Ostrom kind of looking a little bit more alive here in this series. As Darkness are definitely going to try and push straight back into them. They held pressure so well in game number 1. We have seen a little bit here in game number 2 as Viad tries to get that one around, but isn't able to pull it off in the end. Flosee sending this one back towards net. And this goal going in, will this kind of be the gates opening for Ostrom to kind of get those extra goals and push forwards in this series?
Yeah, they needed to take that lead, right? They needed to at least stamp their authority on the series as well. Legal, nice little stab forward there, nothing landing. Just at least opportunities though coming out here for Darkness. There it is, Varite. He's going to find the equalizer. It's a great goal.
Yeah, that's an incredible goal. Great pass from Deadly Dom. not too much power, bounces it off the wall to completely fake Flosee, who thought it was going to roll along the wall. Ball bounces middle, and he's waiting for it to pop that one away. Plays it behind both defenders and works out perfectly. Great equalizer for Darkness here in game number 2, and it really depends on which team wants to come out. Legal looking for the double, but that's a great clearance away as Arid keeps the pressure on, keeps it in that corner. But good touch by Flosee to send it to the complete opposite side. Both players turning away from that one as DLynch's going to try and follow this one. Flosee now getting that touch, doesn't manage to get it over the top of DLynch. He does really well to cut that one out. All going to be sent middle by Legal. Great bumps coming through, and Arid's going to follow it up and put that one away. And again, a great worked goal from Darkness.
Legal from the corner here. That's the bumper plays you want to get right. Get rid of defenders, and Legal does such a stellar job of doing that, right? Clear the defenders, clear the box, allow your players to come in as that second position and just get the goal. And Vared does so, sinks that one in the back of the net here. Vared maybe from the kickoff as well. He's going to be able to find another one. There it is. Darkness up by 2.
Ostrom coming into game number 2. They were ready for it. They had that goal to get their momentum. They got their first goal, and Darkness went, no, we're having absolutely none of this. 3 goals straight away, get the score back to where they want it to be, and really well worked from Darkness. Those first 2 goals followed by a kickoff works out perfectly. Whiff from Legal might mean they have an opportunity now. Cleared away by Vared, and Darkness really sitting in control of this series now, especially after this kind of second game where they're able to come back from that 1 goal down and really just put a stamp on it here in game number 2, getting those 3 quick, very quick goals.
Quick goals, and you still have a whole minute of regulation in front of us as well, big Chebs, and so Shadow Darkness, they can do more with it, but it also means Ostrom can bring it back and do more with it as well. Yeah, Frizzy just holding on to that ball, now out for Rix, is going to find the right-hand side here, and so at least Ostrom putting a little bit of pressure once again here onto the Darkness, but Vared wants to get it over 1. Can he get the flick? Maybe he's going to look for the action as well. Can't beat out Frizzy though with the stellar save. Is coming down though. They have to beat it on the near post. They can. Flosee finally coming in to save the day, and now Flosee going in. Can we see that dunk that we saw from game number 1 coming out here from him? He's going to look for that double touch as well. Doesn't land though, doesn't get it off the back wall though, but Rix is up. Flosee, Frizzy has to get back on D though. It doesn't pinch the 100, but it's fine though. He's going to send a nice little shot though. See if it lands. It doesn't. DLynch though, off that back wall. The Welshman just keeping that one out. And so 2 goal difference still here for the Darkness, and clock ticking down, and Ostrom need to be able to pull the rabbit out right now.
Yeah, good touch from Legal to keep that one from heading too much further. It's going to head all the way, and that's what they needed to have any chance at winning game number 2. They have that tiny slither of hope. Just 1 goal separates them and overtime, but 12 seconds is their time limit. Great shot in the end to put that one away, but now it all comes down to this kickoff. As we see Frizzy and Legal going for it. Flosee is going to win this one, trying to take this one, looking for that goal. Good demo from Vared to keep that pressure off. Ball's going to fall down to is it Rixie? As the ball heads across into the middle, but it finally hits the floor. And Ostrom, they looked so on it to try and get that 3rd goal, but Shadow did hold strong after a little bit of a weak kickoff. But perfect play from Darkness until kind of those last few minutes or so.
And we know that SparkyCracked is feeling good about this one, big Chebs. The lads here at Darkness are playing well. 2-0, 2-0 on the scoreboard as well. You're both in the game and in the series score line. And so Vared does get the 500 as well and gets the hat trick, takes the 4 shots. DSQ Ostrom. Now, game 3 and 4 ahead of you. Push for that draw. You need to try and close it out though. We saw that venom and potential coming out from the big Chebs. We know they can do it.
Yeah, 100%. They look so much better in that game. Actually having a bit more defensive positioning is what we saw. They were able to kind of keep a bit more out. The Darkness were pushing at them until they had that little bit of aggression that come through. But definitely looking better. And this time they're actually getting those plays onto the backboard, which is meaning that they're able to kind of go for those doubles. We know Flosee can hit them, but Vi's doing a great job of kind of sitting on that backboard and playing them away. So it's a close game, is all I can say. And Ostrom are improving, and I think we're in for some fun ones game 3 and 4.
Well, they're definitely clawing it back, right? Maybe we do see that eventual 2-2 apiece on the scoreline. They're big Chebs. Game 3, let's get it. DSQ Ostrom, they need to make this count. They need a big one. Already VuDu sends that one goalwood. It's not going to land though, but oh my goodness, the saves here coming out already from Ostrom and VuDu. Sorry, VuDu again. Looking for the action. Darkness, they want to close this out. They want to score. They want to get big goal differences, which is incredibly important. Flosee, Deadly Dom. It's a battle here once again on the halfway line. Illegal. Can he bring this down though? Flosee's going to be able to cut it out off that back ball there. Again, a nice little shot toward the net. Oh my goodness. Almost again Deadly Dom though, but kept it bay.
Yeah, great save in the end. Deadly Dom and Legal probably both wanting to go for that one. Someone said they wanted it, so they both left it. Ends up in the end falling down to Ostrom as they try and bring this one forward. Frizzy sends this one up into the air, but Legal's waiting for it on the backboard. Doesn't manage to get the greatest of touches. Flosee only as close as the sidewall. Is going to end up still in that corner though. Ostrom starting to build some pressure, but VuDu able to get that one all the way to the end. Flosee with the ball's going to head into the middle. Deadly Dom trying to follow it up, but isn't able to get that touch. Is cleared away. Frizzy trying to bring this one down on the wall. Going to send this one towards net. Great save in the end. Bounces about. Deadly Dom is able to get a touch on that one to keep it away from the save. And it's so close for Ostrom in that little span of play, but now Darkness trying to bring this one forward, bouncing dangerously close to the goal, and VuDu puts it away. And what a crazy turn of events here in game number 3.
Yeah, just absolutely turns on a dime there. Ostrom just taking so many shots on the other side of the field, and just at the end of the day here, Darkness getting that again early goal here in game 3 as well, the ones that are going to count at the end of the day, big chebs. And so there we go, the lead. Shadow Darkness, Legal, Arid looking to get the dunk as well. Can they do it? Oh well, there it is. If you get the demo and you clear the defenders, you can score.
Yeah, great kind of way to dribble that one in from Legal. Great control in the air, and a great demo from Deadly Dom to give him pretty much no pressure on that shot, and works out perfectly in Darkness's favour. And Ostrom now are looking that I thought they were they're coming back into this one, and again Darkness shut them out. They're changing up the way they play almost every single game, and it's so difficult for Ostrom to be able to kind of pull back into this series, as every time they change their play up, Ostrom have to adapt again to be able to kind of keep any momentum going. But every single game there's been a slightly different play style, but finally Ostrom find an opening as Flosee aggressive onto that shot, puts it into the top corner, and now a slither of hope. Hopefully they've adapted a little bit quicker this game.
Yeah, it works out well when Frizzy just contests for the ball there on the wall, and he tries to cut out the play and make sure it's not going to run for it as well. So, you know, it's good to see when Ostrom put their bodies on the line and they challenge early and they try to attack the ball on the player, then we can see action like this coming out, big chebs. And so Frizzy there at least starting that play, but of course Flosee getting that goal. And now only the 1 goal difference here between these two, 2:40 on the clock here. Ricks, can we see something come from it as well? Oh, almost there, Frizzy taking that shot. Flosee's going to go up for this one quickly as well. Doesn't have too much in the tank though, but enough to get up. But Deadly Dom though has to try punt it out and try get rid of it. VuDu as well, catching that ball there way back in his own half. VuDu running all the way upfield. Can they do something with it here as well? Legal's looking for that second touch. Nothing's going to come from it there as well. Darkness, you don't want them to score if you're the Ostrom fans though. Deadly Dom though, almost taking a shot at that one though. Legal has to hold on to this ball here. Play slowing down just a little bit here.
Yeah, doesn't manage to do too perfectly, but either way it works out in Darkness's favour. Legal trying to line up something onto the backboard. Going to be followed up by VuDu, who puts it away, and that's their 3rd goal on the cards. And a little bit shakily worked, but ends up going in nonetheless, and will be taken easily by Darkness. But yeah, Ostrom are just looking so awkward on defense at the moment.
Yeah, and if you're the Dynasty fans, you didn't want DSQ to win here, but you probably don't want Shadow to win either, because you might just fall under them on their total leaderboard as well. But nonetheless, Shadow Esports here up by 2, up in the series total as well. And VuDu from this corner being such a stellar piece of the puzzle here for the Shadow outfit, doing so incredibly well. We saw that hat-trick from the previous game. VuDu to Flosee, bringing it down, maybe looking for the double, gets that double, gets the bottom corner, it's good.
Yeah, great shot from Flosee and keeps that slither of hope Great double in the end, setting himself up onto it. Works out perfectly. 1 goal left to kind of complete this comeback, and I think they do deserve it going into this game. They're looking a lot stronger as Frizzie's going to try and follow this one up, sends it onto the backboard. Good save, good slap away from Deadly Dom. He tries to take this one up the wall, and obviously from Darkness's point of view, they're defending really well, and every time they go forward they seem to be able to score after holding that little bit of pressure. But Ostrom is starting to fight back. Good demo from Legal. Svarad tries to get something going, sends it across to the middle where they are waiting for it. Ball's going to head towards the post, but Deadly Dom is able to pick that one up before any of the Ostrom players. Again, the fall almost back to Deadly Dom as Flosee cuts that one out. No one really there to support them though, as Varad takes this one forwards. Trying to get it past one, is able to do so, but Flosee gets that little bit of a touch that gives them the possession. Ball is going to fall Legal across into the middle, but too far for anyone on Darkness to get on the end of it. Frizzy taking this one forwards, trying to get a bump maybe as he heads across net. Ball is going to be up in the corner, banged away by Legal, and there's so much going on at the moment in this game that both teams kind of sitting in this midfield as Ostrom trying to push for that 3rd goal.
Yeah, a little bit more urgency, at least from Ostrom, needs to come out as well. Maybe Rix is going to be able to do something with it. Oh my goodness, but Legal though keeps it out on that near post. And just when you think that Ostrom is going to try force the OT though, gets kept out. Legal does all the work, the ball goes down. And there it is, Shadow, Darkness, take another game.
Yeah, really nice play still from Shadow. They're doing so well to kind of get something going every single attack, putting so much pressure on that Ostrom defense, and eventually it forces a mistake. And they're doing it incredibly. Again, Varad again taking the MVP. I think we know who will be taking the MVP in this series, but at the moment it all comes down to game number 4. Or again, from the series before, we saw Swift get something out of that series when they looked like the team on the back foot, and again we're in this situation yet again where Darkness could they could take this sweep all the way. They look like they have the ability to take the sweep all the way, but Ostrom have that chance, and they definitely have the ability to take that chance to get something out of the series.
Yeah, I think I don't know if it's the miscoms at the end there, Chebs, but we saw if Frizzy makes the pass to Flosee, then Flosee maybe bangs it incredibly hard though. Maybe the shot is just a bit too aggressive when he's trying to score. Then I think someone is also getting out in defense, possibly Frizzy again, and just kind of, botches the play a little bit there. And so maybe hastiness here coming out from the Ostrom outfit, where just they maybe need to slow down the play, make it a bit more clinical. They can't kind of just, maybe things are getting a bit nervy for them there in the DC corner. So just a few of those plays that they could make like that where they can score is not really going as well as they'd hoped for.
Yeah, 100%. I do think that Ostrom are playing a little bit too rushed. We're seeing a lot of touches from Ostrom kind of heading too far to the side, but currently going into game number 4, we do see a sub coming through as Deadly Dom hits the bench, as we see Quizda take on Ostrom here in game number 4, hopefully able to complete this sweep on the side of Darkness and not let his team down in this series, as the ball is going to head across into the middle. Flosee going to follow this one up, isn't able to get the final touch as Varad plays that one into the corner. It's going to be followed by Quizda. Great touch across into the middle. 50 to keep this one on the cards, as Legal going for a flick is well covered by Flosee. Ball goes forward because Quizda plays this one forwards. Again, we're seeing so much good forward play for both teams, but kind of no one at the moment. Only a minute in, but no team able to get on the end of it, as we see a rule 1 in the corner. We're going to be dropping to some 2s gameplay here in game number 4. And Muzz, who do we think is the better 2s team?
Oh, I mean, we're going to have to see, right, as well. We've got Quizda has come off the bench as well, so hopefully it's the impact player coming up. But as you mentioned, 2v2 at the moment. Varad running it down. He wants to sink it as well. He can't. And no one's going to break this deadlock here between Frizzy and Quizda there as well. Of course, you may not, right? The psionic guards that punish you for that ball going up here as well. Flosee, someone's looking for the action. They can't get it on that near post save. They're legal as to keep it out all the way downfield. Varad, it's also going to be wide though. And so he doesn't get the flick over, and Flosee has to clear it out, and still see that rule 1 going. Oh no, one's not going to break it. It's great.
Yeah, I'm more feeling bad for Quista at the moment. He's subbed on, ready for his game for this big series, and comes on and within 30 seconds is in a Rule 1 and then sat here for 2 minutes doing nothing. So let's hope we can see something going, get Quista on the end of the ball at some point in this game. The ball is going to be sent forwards by Vared. Are we able to get the thing I asked for? We do. Good pinch from Vared to send that one into the net, and first goal in game number 4 goes in the way of our series leaders. Darkness opening up game number 4.
And Quista, thankful that that happened as well, so you can get back onto the field, kick off your big chips. As you said, you're going to spend all your time in that Rule 1. That's not advantageous. They're legal. It's going to be open. He's going to score this. There's the kick-off goal for Darkness.
Yeah, Quista getting some accolades on the card straight away after coming out of that Rule 1 assist on his scorecards as Legal puts that one away straight off the kickoff. And yeah, I mean, Darkness still looking strong and Ostrom still with no answer as Quista's going to follow this one up. Good 50 as Flosee should be able to land and take this one in their stride. Takes it forwards, tries to get a touch towards middle, is picked up, sent towards goal but not fast enough. Good save in the end. The ball is going to fall dangerous towards net. Frizzy, good touch. Isn't able to get it again into the back of the net. That's the one thing that we're missing from Ostrom. They're doing so well to kind of get those balls onto the backboard, onto the side wall, get something towards net, but it's never dangerous enough for Darkness to let it in. As Vared taking this one up the wall is going to try and send this one middle. Good Musty to send it across. Eagle's going to be able to pick this one up onto the backboard. But that is where Rixie's waiting for it, is able to get that one touch. Ball's going to head up into the air, but Frizzy going to be fired to that one and release the pressure that Darkness are holding.
Yeah, and Rixie was running that one up, but nothing too menacing coming at you from Ostrom just yet there. And Quista, oh, there it is. Oh, sorry, Quista. Quista's going to be able to find that goal of his own from coming off the bench there. Well done.
Yeah, great shot in the end from Quista off the post and completely catches the defender off guard. All goes in, and we're back to those 3 goals that Darkness seem to love so much. Every game, 3 goals, so working out well as the ball is going to drop middle. Ostrom trying to take this one forward. They want something out of this series. They've scored some goals that deserve them to get something out of this series, but Darkness are just looking so strong on that back line and able to get anything going as they move it forwards. Follow up from Frizzy isn't able to get on the end of it. Rixie trying to play it down into the middle. Legal gets that touch across into the corner. And they're just doing so well on that defensive back line to really stop Ostrom getting anything forwards.
And of course, our 90 seconds of regulation, your big chips, it's really down to the business end right now. And Shadow Darkness have had such a superb series, such a superb game 4 as well here. And it just seems that Ostrom haven't really found their foot in here and thereabouts in terms of a series, but just when you're 3-0 down here at the end of your series, it has to feel a little bit demotivating and a bit demoralizing. But Flosee is going to look with action. He's going to try to get that tap, though he doesn't get it. A pixel shy. Vared as well up in the air, looking to get that clear, looking to get that save as well. There's another attempt here coming out from Frizzy, though, kept out by Quista. So Quista doing exceptionally well there off the bench. Legal's going to get an open net. Can he do it? There it is. They make it 4. And it's just an absolute slap in the face here from Darkness.
Yeah, it works out perfectly. And Darkness tying up the... I mean, 40 seconds, anything can happen, but it's looking so confident from the side of Darkness. 4 goals to nothing here in game number 4. Almost will hopefully be tying the series result in Darkness's favour. Ball's going to head middle. Legal not able to get on the end of that one, and that really would have sealed the deal as Frizzy trying to bring this one forwards. Isn't able to get anything too dangerous on target. Vared taking this one forwards. Is going to try and get a nice little dribble, but Flosee cutting that one out. Ball's going to head again to Frizzy, sending this one slightly goalwards. It's going to bounce off the post, and Legal coming across to help his teammate to play this one off to the side. Ball's going to fall down. Legal plays this one forward, and that's done and dusted from the side of Darkness. 4-0, and what an amazing series they had. Just all-round strong showing, and Flosee getting that consolation goal to see us out.
It seems to be kind of the playbook coming at you from Ostrom as well. Just when it's a little bit too late, Flosee's able to score a goal here, big Chebs, and just they don't seem to find the back of the net a little bit sooner, and when it counts, a little bit more. And so there it is. Shadow Esports, they take the dub to go 4-0 as well. Very, very big victory coming out in this lead tier. And Greybeard was telling us, it's like, the previous series, it's the best scoreline of the day with that 3-1. Shadow Darkness said, hold my boost. And there we go. They get the 4-0 dub there as well. So big Chebs, that was a good one. Just Vorit. Legal, they came out to play, they got those goals, they did so well from the onset.
100%. Like all 4 of them that played on the Darkness's team were solid. All of them played their part in that series sweep. Varhead, obviously MVP of that series, scored most of the goals, looked really solid the whole time. Legal coming out with some amazing passes, we also saw some goals going from him. And Deadly Dom and Quizda both playing that role to fill the gaps where needed. And only 6 goals coming out from Ostrom compared to the 14 from Darkness really shows that it was a full team effort in that series.
Yeah, no, full team effort there coming out from everyone, big Chebs, and there it is. Everyone's got the stats in front of them. Everyone can see what's going on as well. The 32 shots coming out from Darkness versus the 23, the inverse there from Ostrom. So Ostrom, again, we saw a little bit kind of slow to get on the front foot, maybe lackluster there, and sometimes Flosee just scoring a little bit too late when didn't matter too much there. And so DSQ Ostrom, they go down there. And I suppose now Dynasty and Shadow Darkness, they are incredibly grateful for that loss.
Yo, what a stunning performance. Our first and only sweep of the night. What a show up from Shadow. And DSQ, after a great first week, they drew earlier tonight, they swept here. Oh, there's definitely going to be a shift in the a disturbance in the force after the second week of league play. Chebs, I don't know who stood out for you in any particular way out there for Darkness.
For Darkness, I think Varhead looked incredible. He played some amazing Rocket League in that game, but I'm not going to talk about him. I think he was amazing, but I think Legal really was kind of keeping that team together. He was playing that role of kind of playing off touches. He made some great saves we saw through that series, was able to kind of pick up the ball and take it forwards, and that's where Varhead was able to pick that one up, put them away, and worked out perfectly from the side of Darkness.
All right, I wanted to have a look at the prediction results. There we go. So 81% of the channel points were on DSQ Ostrom, 0% on a draw, and only 19% for Shadow Darkness. The Shadow Darkness gamblers are going to be smiling. So congrats there. And you know what? It's probably not an unfair prediction, Muzz, given last week's performance from DSQ.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing, right? So you want to put all your bucks on DSQ, you want to make sure you back this team, and it's good to see, you mentioned game week 2, and it's so ferocious, and everyone's, coming here to win. Shadow Darkness, when you do it in 4 and you're 4-0, that's coming out to win for sure.
And it was quite nice to see in a civilized chat throughout the series after the Dynasty Caps War, which was quite dizzying in the last series. So well done, chat, on keeping it tidy. All right. Well, I think that's pretty much that. We've had 4 series, 2 draws, a 3-1, and now a stunning performance from Shadow to bang it 4-0. And of course, we will do it all again next week. Same time, same place. Be here and bring a friend. Let's get this viewership as huge as we possibly can. But Muzz, Big Chebs, outstanding night tonight. Congratulations. Thanks for being here. Stunning cast, and no doubt we will see you again in the not too distant.
Definitely, and thank you to all of the production staff that these guys don't see in the background. They're amazing at what they do, and worked perfectly tonight.
Yeah.
Fabulous. All right, cool. Muzz, Big Chebs, thank you, man. Peace. Alrighty, so there we go. That is the end of the night, and worth me making a plug for our sponsors. You see them there on the side, Nixa and Genisus Extreme. Most of this being made possible, sponsor with the prize pool and Genisus Extreme with the production. And it's probably worth saying here, we have grand visions of where we want to go with all of this in terms of our prize pool, our production. And then the big dream is in some not too distant future iteration of RSC is to have a LAN. Wouldn't it be amazing to have the playoffs held live and in person on a LAN? And I think that about wraps it up, other than I see production are making sure I punt the merch. You saw it there. The t-shirts are available. I played RSC S3. Just saying. And you saw two colors there, black and white, also available in blue and red. And so get your orders in. As soon as we've got 20 orders, we will get the first run under production. And I think that pretty much wraps it up. I think we've covered all the big and important things. I would like to thank, as we always do, the people who are here on a Thursday night to make this happen. Of course, our casters that you've seen tonight. First up, Ultrism and Vector. And then second up, Muzz and Big Chebs. But then also Deploy on the graphics. And Desolation sort of being the producer, the broadcaster, making sure this happens. And then our match admin is Q, running the lobbies, chasing the captains and teams around to get them into lobbies and started. And then, of course, our Twitch mod for the night, Yoshi. And that, I think, rounds out all the production crew. I'm going to initiate a raid, but first, the stream is going to close out with our bumpers and RSC, so watch those and stick around at the end for the raid. But until, well, Sunday we'll be live again for the Just Saying podcast episode 4 this coming Sunday. But until then, from me and everybody else, peace!
And what a shot from Kirica, taking that off the ceiling, underneath the ball, and straight down the middle.
Oh, there it is, out of the blue!
2 seconds left on the clock and the Joker finds something out of nothing!
Now, that pass from Shadow was immaculate, playing it straight down center. He just had to get a touch, and it's all he needed.
Sonic has a chance, it's an open net if he sees it. Looking for the shot downfield, goes into the corner, Kilogram! He gets the goal!
That's just in front of the net. Nuke barely keeps it out there, dies on the goal line. The last shot, it finds it through. Entity gonna pick it up.